Hi everyone, you're welcome to tonight's live webinar sessions. My name is Fiona Kelly, LYIT Marketing Manager, and tonight we're going to host a series of 6 live webinars. We're starting off this evening with a talk about the CAO process. If you have any questions, whether you're watching us on Zoom, on Facebook, or on YouTube, please just simply share your questions on the chat or in the comment sections below, and we will go through them and process each of your questions at the end of each guest speaker talk. So I'm going to hand you straight over now to my colleague Tracy Sheridan, who's going to talk to you about the CAO application process, and any questions that you may have, we will put them to Tracy at the end of the session. So over to you, Tracy.
Hi everybody. It's great to be here to be able to deliver this talk to you all today. I'm just going to jump straight in because there is a lot to cover. So if you feel that you have still more queries or questions, my contact details will be available at the end of this. So what is the CAO? The CAO is a Central Applications Office that processes undergraduate applications for higher education institutions, and they process our applications from level 6 to level 8 for first year programs. And LYT also offers courses from levels 6 right through to levels 10. Before you begin, you must do your research. It is so important that you look through the course content, the career prospects, and also the entry requirements. These can all be found in the LYT prospectus and also the LYT website. Another very important document to read through is the CEO Handbook. So key dates. So the later you apply, the more it's going to cost. So up to January, you have until tomorrow. It is €30 at the discounted fee. And then from the 21st of January to the 1st of February, it's €45. And then up to May 1st thereafter, it is €60. Other important times to note is on the 20th of January, obviously that I've just mentioned that, discounted application fee. The 1st of February is the normal closing date for applications, and this here is also a very important date for anybody who wants to apply to nursing who is a mature applicant. From the 5th of February then to the 1st of March, the online amendment for course choices becomes available, and this is a €10 fee for this. Registration with NMBA for the mature nursing tests is in February, and also from the 1st of March, on the 1st of March at 17:15, closing date for amendment of course choices, closing date also for completion of the mature section of the application form, and closing date for the final completion of online forms for here or there. On the 5th of March, then the late application facility opens. And then on the 15th of March, it is important that here their applicants must have submitted their documentation to the supporting documentation to the CEO. It has to arrive before that date. So in April then, the mature nursing test will be held, and this is an online test. And then on the 1st of May is closing date for applications. So you must have your application in before the 1st of May, preferably before that, but before the 1st of May, and you must have your course choices entered in then too. And then on the 5th of May to the 1st of July, you have the change of mind facility. It is free compared to the other early change of mind facility. So that's free. You can go online, you can change your course choices, you can rearrange your order of preference, you can add courses, and then before the end of May, you will receive a statement of application record which will be sent to applicants from the CEO via email. And then on the 1st of July, the change of mind closes. Mid-July is then round A offers, and this is generally matures and certain non-standard applicants. And then in early August, round 0 offers for QQI, FETech applicants, and additional mature offers if applicable. So the demo application, thoroughly, I really advise that you do this before you make your official application. This is just a practice run and it doesn't record any of your details. So the official application itself, so you obviously go to the CEO website and click apply at the top of the page. You will have to enter your personal details, email address, brief information on your qualifications or assessments, and make a payment and click on the terms and conditions. Then you create your password and click proceed with their application. Application details appear and CEO number will be generated, and it is important that you take note of both your CEO number and your PIN. And a verification code also will be sent to your email, and then you will be able to log in to further make your application. This here is the receipt you will receive whenever you make the first step of your application. It has all your details and brief description of your qualifications and assessments. The application, then you will go into greater detail on your qualifications, and also the course choice section is there too, and you can amend any details if required. Then there is also the mature section to fill out the here or there if applicable, and also SUSI. So this year, over 3,500 students forgot to enter course choices on their application. It is imperative that you ensure that you have course choices entered into your application. You will receive the statement of application record before the end of May, so make sure if you don't receive that you contact the CEO. Sorry, just bear with me. Your course choices amendment dates, you can amend them from November to the 1st of February, which is free. Early February to the 1st of March, the 5th of February to the 1st of March, there's a €10 fee, and the 5th of May to the 1st of July is free as well. So entry is a two-step process. Firstly, you must matriculate, and that means meet the minimum entry requirements. This can be found on CEO on the course website, the information page for the courses, and also then thereafter your points are calculated if you meet the entry requirements, and the higher the points, the better chance of getting an offer. High demand programs and low availability of places. High demand programs and low availability of places result in higher cutoff points. The competition is greater. So that is the entry requirements to levels 8 programs. So you need a minimum of 6 subjects and at H5. And also, I'll not go into too much detail about this because there's a lot to get through, but this information is on the LYT website if you wish to go on there. And if you need any further guidance on entry requirements, my information will again be available at the end of it. So Irish or English are required for all courses. Maths required for most courses but not all, and art and design or lab subjects are required for some courses. So terms and conditions apply. So the 6 best results in recognised subjects in one single sitting will be calculated for points. One sitting only of the Leaving Cert or GCSEs will be counted for points purposes. We do also recognise LCVP subjects. And remember, before any points are calculated, the candidate must first matriculate, which means meet the minimum entry requirements. So courses that do not require maths would be law, criminal justice and law, culinary arts, hospitality and tourism. All of our creative media and digital design programs do not require maths. And then courses that do require lab science subjects, you have all the nursing from general and ID, psych, vet, dental, pharmacy technician, and with the health science programs such as physio, OT and dietetics, you will need a H5 in biology. So the courses that require art and design are all of our courses in the creative and design department, except for digital film and video. If you do not have art or design in your school finals, you can also submit a portfolio. So that's the Leaving Cert points, and these can be found in various places such as the CEO our website as well. These are available, so if you want to be able to calculate your points, you can go to this handy table, and there is also a calculator on the CEO website. Also, the scoring for A levels, I would like you also to take note on that. Note that the minimum point score for a level 7 program is 160 points, and your scores are based on your A levels only. So GCSEs only contribute to matriculation but not scoring, so scoring is based also on a single sitting. So before I go into the NABLE and Maths, details about the NABLE and Maths, I'd also like to speak about the courses that do require Garda vetting. These courses mainly are courses that students will be going out in placement and dealing with, be in contact with children or vulnerable adults, or also controlled substances. So to justify public trust and confidence, we must ensure that any applicants or any candidates are allowed on these courses must be able to be clear the Garda pass or get the Garda clearance. And also, just to add, registration is only temporary until you get Garda clearance for these courses that do require Garda vetting. Information on courses that need Garda vetting will be in the course information page on our website. So along with the entry requirements, you will find at the bottom of the page if you need Garda vetting too. So QQI, FETech and also BTEC, there are quotas on all programs since last year. So some quotas are more generous than others and restricted quota on some courses, which means there is a very small amount, like some courses only have 1 and some have 2 and then some may only have 4. So you just have to remember that sometimes getting into the high demand programs with a QQI, FETech or BTEC, it can be like a lottery. So and there will also be some specific awards only accepted for some courses, such as nursing, vet nursing and childcare, just to name a few. Information on what QQI or vocational awards that we do accept can be found on our prospectus, and also if you go into the CEO website and the FETech information page, also, but just by entering the course code, you can determine if you have the eligible award that is needed for that particular course you want to do. So it offers to go out on round 0, which is at the beginning of August. So that's the BTEC scoring as well. Just to note that level 6-7, we only accept subsidiary and 90 credit diplomas, along with diplomas and extended diplomas. But if you want to apply to level 8, you do need a diploma or an extended diploma. This scoring can be found on our website too, under the Northern Ireland UK applications. Non-standard applicants, they obviously tick the non-standard box on their CEO application. These applicants must be centrally related by the IoT themselves, and then you will receive emails from us in regards to any further documentation that you need to send. Documents must be A4 certified photocopies, and they must be the official documents from the awarding body. Mature applicants must be 23 on or before the 1st of January of 2022. There are quotas again for a number of programs. Information on the quotas can also be found in the entry requirements page of the course information page on the LYT website. You can also apply if you're a mature applicant. If you have a leaving cert, you can apply with the leaving cert as well, and also if you have any other qualifications such as GCSEs or QQIs. There may be a limited amount of places reserved on each course regardless of any qualifying exams. So some courses that are high demand, such as the nursing, the veterinary, OT, physio, there is quotas for these courses, but these again can be found on our website. So offers for mature applicants go out in round A, and if there are any further offers to be made, if the mature quota has not been filled, they will go out in August. And deadline to note as well for mature applicants that want to apply to nursing, the 1st of February. If you don't apply by the 1st of February and you've no other qualifying exams, you will be too late to apply to nursing this year. And nursing applicants then also, as I said before, register with NMBA and must complete the aptitude tests for nursing. So here, DARE applicants can be admitted with up to 30 points below the cutoff, but they must also meet the minimum entry requirements, which includes 160 points for level 7 and above. There are quotas on some courses for here or there, so there will be 1 here and 1 there, and these are mainly our high demand programs that there is quotas for these courses. So again, all this information can be found on the LYT website, or you can give me a call if there's anything else you're unsure of. So each list is independent. The level 8 list is independent on its own, and the level 6-7 list is also independent on its own. You can make up to 10 course choices on each list. Choices on one list do not affect the choices on the other list. And you also list your courses in genuine order of preference. It is so important that you do list it in genuine order of preference, and not what you think you're going to get, but actually what you really want to get. List your course, and the most desired course should be number 1 on the course choice list. And you can get an offer from each. You can also get an offer from each list in the same round. So you could get a level 8 offer, and you get a level 7/6 offer on the same round in the same day. So it's just a matter of picking which one you would prefer. So as I said, listing your courses in order of preference is vital. You will be offered the highest preference of the course for which you have had enough points. So this is important because you can move up the list, but you cannot move down the list. So if you have been offered level 2 on your course preference list, you cannot go down to number 3 or 4 or 5 after that. So you can only move up the list, you can't move down the list in your course preferences. And it is very important to list them in genuine order of preference. That's why it is so important to list them in genuine order of preference. So then this is very important. You will receive your statement of your application. What you should check carefully whenever you receive this are all your course choices shown, and are they in correct order? Are the course codes correct? Are you sure you have the right course code for the correct institute? Are all the relevant exams listed? Have you entered your leaving cert number, your candidate number, and your examination centre number? Is there any error or omissions that you need to amend in the statement? If there are, you need to submit that back to the CEO. So whenever you receive this document, do not discard it. Do not think, oh, I'll look at it later. Look at it right away and check it thoroughly. I cannot stress enough, by checking it thoroughly, you would not believe the amount of Leaving Cert applicants that forgot to enter their Leaving Cert examination number this year, or for the 2021 intake. And that means not getting their, maybe being more than eligible, but there's nothing you can do if you do not have this in by the 1st of May. And if you do notice any error or omissions when you receive your statement, contact the CEO directly. There will be information in the email on how to make any amendments. So communication with the CEO, on the top right hand corner, there is the contact. So you just basically fill out the form and CEO will be able to get back to you then. So no offer, what you need to ask yourself, have you supplied all the relevant exam history? Again, your Leaving Cert number, your candidate number, your examination centre number. Did you matriculate? Did you meet the minimum requirements? Have you enough points? What is the cutoff point for that round? Maybe you need to check that. Have you miscalculated your points? And also, if you're not sure yourself, contact us directly and we will be able to tell you where you went down or why you did not receive an offer in that round. So remember to do your research and then make your application. Use the CEO and the college websites. Know the entry requirements. Practice and use the demo first. List your courses in genuine order of preference. Check all levels of the course you wish to study. Submit relevant exam details and supporting evidence early. Do not leave it too late. And make sure you deal promptly with any communication from the CEO. It is so important you keep an eye on your emails, because you will receive emails from the CEO and at times you will receive emails from the college themselves. If you need to clarify anything, don't be afraid to contact us directly. We are here to help. Have your CEO number at hand and download the CEO checklist. This can be found on the CEO Handbook on the CEO website. Download that, tick off as you progress. Tick off every time you do a step on it, and just track your progress. So to final all, communicate with us. Don't be afraid to contact us. We're here to help if you have any queries at all. And again, it was a very quick rundown on it all. There's a lot to fit in that space of time. So that's my email address and my contact number. Best way to get me is probably via email. So it's tracy.sheridan@lyit.ie. Don't be afraid to contact me. We're always here to help. And if there's any queries on the presentation itself, or if there's something you'd like for me to elaborate any more on, please get in contact.
Okay, so thanks so much, Tracy. You always cover so much information, and I'd be blown away at the amount of information that there is to take in, whether it's Enable Maths or it's Northern Ireland students making an application. We do have a few questions in, so I want to go
Yeah,
through them with you. From
no
one of our
problem.
Zoom viewers, a Zoom viewer is asking, I filled in my CAO choices and saved them. I then received an email saying it was updated. Is that all I have to do, or is there a submit button that I have to press?
That's all you have to do for now, but
Mhm.
check it again. That's all I can say. Check it again. When you get your statement,
And that's going
check it
back
and
to
make
that
sure they're in.
statement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
So the
ensure it. And if you're,
statement's really important,
yeah,
isn't it?
it's just
That
so
aspect
important.
of
It
it.
has everything that's on your application. And as I said, check your course choices, your school infos, and your contact details are correct. If you're not receiving any emails, there's a reason you're not receiving any emails. You have to verify your email too.
Okay. So another parent has asked now separate. I'm a parent. Can I check my child's list to check to see if they've got the right programs? So they would need to be able to
Yeah,
access their application or check their statement. Wouldn't that be right?
yeah. All you need to do is just get your child's CEO number and their PIN for logging in, and that's it. You can go
Okay.
into their course choice lists and check to make sure they're in genuine order of preference.
Okay, another question that's in. Can I add my exam number into my application now? Now, I thought it was really interesting. You highlighted that that there was a lot of missing exam numbers. Now, we both know
A
how
scale
many
amount.
that was. It was a
Hmm.
scary amount last year of
Yeah,
students who didn't put in their leaving cert number. How
so
important
many.
is that?
If you don't enter your leaving cert number, your application can't be assessed. So you're just left. You're
Okay,
not going
so
to be assessed. You'll. It's just so important. And I normally try to catch as many people as I can because I will receive a file. Maybe
mhm.
there's nothing there to assess, and maybe they might be a non-standard or something. But if you don't check your emails, if you don't check your application, you're not going to catch this error
Yeah.
or the omission that
And
you've
that's why
just
it's
made.
important, again, I suppose, going back to use an email as well when you're setting up, that you
Hmm.
actually check, and not Homer Simpson 123 at gmail.com, never to be checked again. So it's really important that you're using an email address that you do look at and that you didn't just set up on a whim. So sometimes a lot of students would use parents' email addresses or some contact that is very, I suppose, a dead cert contact. So that student that's asked about, can I add my exam number into my application now? Yeah, they can. They can put their
Yes,
exam
if
number.
you've received your
Yeah.
examination number, you can enter it into your application, yes. And do enter it
Okay.
if you have it.
And do enter it if you have it. So another question that's come in, is there a difference in the application process for a mature student or part-time course to that of a Leaving Cert student? So that's a good question. So just to answer, I suppose, mature students coming into a full-time course have to go through the CAO. A mature student going into a part-time course, it's directly to the institute. Isn't that right?
That's correct, yeah. So if
Yeah.
you're applying to
And
year
mature
one of a
students,
full-time if you're applying to year one of a full-time undergraduate course, you apply through the CEO. If it's part-time, you apply directly to the institute via direct entry.
that's fantastic. And it's another question on the same theme. So maybe it's the same person watching the two platforms. I'm a mature person applying to LYIT. Do I need my Leaving Cert results? I didn't do very well when I did my Leaving Cert. Can I get in just as a mature student?
That depends on what you're looking to apply to. So all courses have obviously a quota for mature students, some more generous than others. But if you have your leaving cert, do enter your examination number and the years you attended, and also the address and name of the school. You just don't know. You might be applying to a course that might be high demand, but you do have the entry requirements for it with your leaving cert.
Yeah. And again, going back to something you said yourself, Tracy, and I'm going to pull up on this because it's especially because we have a lot of parents watching this evening. How important is your list? and the preferences, like number one being, your top course. Because we get so many students, we've noticed it a lot with a lot of like those health science related courses, like say maybe
Hmm.
occupational therapy and physiotherapy. How important is it to do first preference being the one that's the dream, and second preference being the second choice? How important is that in terms of your list?
It's very important because, as I said during the presentation, you can't move up the list. So if you wanted to do general nursing and then you thought, I'll do physiotherapy studies and I want to do psychiatric nursing as my next on my list. Um, but then you change your mind and you wanted to do psychiatric, you wanted to put that first. If you don't change, you're going to get, if you're eligible for your first offer, you're going to get, and you have enough points for the first preference, which is general, you're going to get that offer, and you cannot even look at 2 and 3 on your course choice list. So if you get an offer for your number one choice list, you cannot go down the ladder, you can only go up.
Okay, another question that's come in here is, do you reckon there's going to be a hybrid leaving cert? So I suppose so topical right now, and we don't know that at LYIT. And it's a great question to ask, but we don't know what way your leaving cert's going to be. I suppose on our side, we are just given that data that allows us to calculate whether or not you're eligible for a program place. Another contact that's question has come in is, who do I contact in LYT just to discuss the difference between part-time, mature student, and how to apply? We can contact any of us really, Tracy. So can you
Mhm.
remind people again watching what's your contact?
It's Tracy.Sheridan, so TRACY.Sheridan at lyit.ie.
Okay. And likewise, I'm fiona.kelly@lyit.ie. So you can contact either of us and hopefully we'll be able to point you in the right direction or at least guide you through that process. Tracy, thanks so much for everything,
No
for
problem.
coming on. You're always so helpful. And again, if anybody has any questions or you have any questions in the future, or you want to visit, maybe you're a parent watching this evening and you want to visit the campus over the coming weeks or months with your young person, we will take you on campus for a tour and a walkthrough, and you can meet the team at LYIT in advance of that move or transition. So just again, go to the LYT website and click on campus tours. I'm just checking now in terms of the last of the questions. Hopefully now all of our questions have been covered. I'm going to let Tracy now drop off. The next person that's coming up is Victoria Wilson, our Schools Engagement Officer. Victoria is going to be talking about full-time courses at LYIT, and she's going to be given an insight into what we offer for the class of 2022. And again, there are new programs coming on track, and we might touch base on that at the end of her session as well. So thanks, Tracy. That's you. And now we're going to be moving on very quickly to Victoria Wilson. So, welcome back, everybody. My name is Fiona Kelly, LYIT Marketing Manager, and we are going to be moving swiftly on to talk number two. And it is being covered by Victoria Wilson, LYT Schools Engagement Officer. One query that came in there, just following on from Tracy's CAO talk, and one thing we must highlight to you is any students watching this, do not use your school email address as your contact for CAO, because we encountered a number of students last year who didn't have access to those email addresses then once we got to August and September time. So we're again reminding anybody that's watching this talks or these talks tonight, use an email address that's active and available to you. Try to avoid those school email addresses, and use an email address that you would have access to. So it's really important to make sure we kind of resonate that with you today. So moving swiftly on now to Victoria Wilson, who's going to give you an insight into all the full-time CAO programs at LYIT.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Victoria Wilson and I am the Schools Engagement Officer at LYIT. And this evening I'm going to be talking about the full-time courses that we offer through the CAO. So today's presentation, just to begin, is going to be some stats and facts about LYIT, the progression ladder through level 6, 7 and 8, and full-time courses that we offer. So some quick stats and facts. So we have about 5,000 students based over 2 campuses in LYIT. We have one campus in Letterkenny and one campus in Killybegs. We have about 54 CAO programs to choose from, and 72% of our courses offer a work placement opportunity, whether that's here in Ireland or you can go abroad, which leads to our 50 international partners that we have. So in terms of the national framework of qualifications, so in your CAO list you have 2 choices. You have the level 6, level 7 list and you have your level 8 list. Your level 6 is a 2-year higher certificate, your level 7 is a 3-year bachelor degree, level 7, and your level 8 is a fast track honours degree in 3, or you can do an honours degree in 4 years. In terms of the school structure at LYIT, we have 3 faculties. So we have the Faculty of Business, the Faculty of Science and Health, and we have the Faculty of Engineering and Technology. I'm going to take you through each of the 10 departments at LYIT and see what courses they have available. So up first we have the Department of Business Studies. So we have the Bachelor of Business in Common Entry with degree specialisms in Accounting, Management and Marketing. So with this course, for the first 2 years, you are able to try all 3 elements, and then in your final year, you choose the area that you want to specialise in. With this course, you have the option to do a level 8 top-up 4th year as well. We offer the 3-year fast-track honours degree in Business Studies, which is mainly specialising in human resource management, strategic management, maybe economics, and this course has Teaching Council recognition. We have a new and exciting program that was released this year in marketing with marketing practice with online technology. This is a very exciting area to go into. Marketing, the world of marketing is evolving every day. And with this course, you can either do it in 3 years or you can do it in 4 years with a 1-year paid work placement. We also offer the 3-year fast track in accounting, which also has accreditation to do your accountancy exams as well. We have a new department, newly named department in Law, Public Service and Education. This department offers 2 courses currently. We have the Law LLB 3-year fast track honours degree. This is maybe if you're interested in the area of barrister, solicitor, or maybe you're interested in going on to do a Masters in Corporate Law or International Law. And we also have a 3-year level 7 in Law with Criminal Justice. This course is very exciting. A lot of our students would use this as a backdoor entry into the Guards. So maybe they find that they're very young to go into the Guards, or maybe they're interested in advocacy or something along those lines. In terms of our Design and Creative Media department, we offer 5 programs in this department, and Tracy mentioned that art is a minimum entry requirement for all of these programs except digital film and video. We offer animation, digital film and video, fashion with promotion and graphic and digital design at a level 7, and then we have our level 8 BA in design common entry, which allows you to try animation, fashion with promotion, graphic and digital design, and digital film and video. This allows you to try these 4 elements from September to December of your first year, and then you choose the area that you want to specialise in for the remainder of your degree. Tourism and Sport. This is also a newly named department at LYIT. This department now offers 5 CAO programs. This department is split onto our 2 campuses. So our tourism section of this department is based on our Killybegs campus, and our sports section of this department is based on our Letterkenny campus. So in terms of tourism, we offer culinary arts, and we offer hotel, restaurant and resort management. Both of these courses offer a work placement, and they can be done abroad in the likes of Boston or Chicago, or you can stay here in Ireland and do your work placement in a hotel or in a restaurant in Ireland. In terms of the sports section of this department, we offer a sports and exercise common entry with degree specialisms in performance or physical education. With this common entry, you try the 2 elements for your first 2 years, and in your 3rd year, you specialise in the area that you're interested in. In terms of performance, this is maybe if you're interested in strength and conditioning, nutrition, those elements of working with athletes or players. With the performance route, you can do your work placement maybe with the Hungarian football team. We also have links with the Donegal GAA, and we also have links with Triathlon Ireland. So companies like those is exciting to do your work placement. In terms of the physical education route, if you choose this in 3rd year, this is a backdoor entry into PE teaching, and a lot of our students would use this to go on and do their masters in PE teaching. You can do your work placement in Austria, you can go on Erasmus for 6 months, or you can stay here in Ireland and teach in a secondary school on your work placement. We offer a level 6 in sports studies. This is a higher certificate 2-year course. After the 2 years, you're a qualified personal trainer. You can exit from the LYIT with your higher certificate cert, or you can do a bridging module, and you can go into the 3rd year of the common entry in the sports and exercise. We also have a new program in sports and exercise rehabilitation. There is no science entry requirement for this, unlike physiotherapy. And this is maybe if you're interested in the rehabilitation of a player. So it's a bit like physio, but more into the rehabilitation of the player. In terms of civil engineering and construction, we offer quantity surveying, which is a 4-year level 8 honours degree, and it's accredited by the Society of the Chartered Surveyors Ireland and the Chartered Institute of Building. And this contains 1 year normally paid work placement based in the industry in the 3rd years. So this is a very unique element of this course. Then we also offer construction management. This also has a work placement, and it's a 4-year level 8 degree. And this program also includes an industry-based work placement, and our students are accredited by the Chartered Institute of the Building as well. In terms of architectural technology, this is a new and exciting course that was introduced to LYIT. This course is into the design and the design of the building, and so on, so forth. In terms of fire safety engineering, this is offered at a level 8 at LYIT. We are the only college in Ireland to offer a level 8 in fire safety engineering currently at an undergraduate degree. This area is very unique, and we have a 100% employment rate from this course, as no building in the world can be built without the sign-off of a fire safety engineer. We offer a level 7 in civil engineering, which is a very exciting course. This course meets the Engineer in Ireland education standard for the registration of an associate engineer, and students may also progress to the 1-year add-on level 8 in fire safety engineering within the department. Typical graduates go on to be a civil engineer or a land surveyor. Then we also offer the new program in construction common entry. This, we find a lot of students are very interested in these 2 courses together, but they're unsure what area they would like to study. So what this course allows you to do is in your first year allows you to try construction management and architectural technology, and then you choose the area that you're interested in. In terms of electronic and mechanical engineering, we offer a new degree in biomedical engineering. This is an exciting area also to go into. This new program will prepare graduates to enter into the careers in the medical devices industry. This program also includes a work placement where students gain invaluable industry experiences which will enhance their career opportunities. This program will prepare graduates to enter careers in the design and the implementation of systems, components, and processes involved in biomedical sensing, drug delivery, and therapy systems. Students will study the design and the build of the biomedical devices. So that's something very interesting as well. Then we have our 2-subject degree in computing and mathematics. This has Teaching Council recognition. We notice that a lot of students are looking for 2-subject degrees. So with this course, you're able to go on and do your Masters in Teaching in Computers and Mathematics. We offer a Level 7 and a Level 8 in Mechanical Engineering. This 4-year, the Mechanical Engineering Level 8 includes modules such as Design Application, Installation, manufacturing, operation, and maintenance of the systems. Typical graduates go on to be a medical device engineer, product and process designer, or facilities engineer. Then we move on to electronic engineering. This is a Level 7 and a Level 8. Well, you have your Level 7 and then you have your progression route onto your Level 8. And this is looking into, you'll be looking into modules into embedded systems and so on. Then we offer our higher certificate in electric vehicle engineering, but this is going to be moving to Level 8 in electric vehicle engineering, which is very exciting. We also offer the electrical apprenticeship in conjunction with Solace. You don't apply directly through the CAO, you apply through Solace. You're with us in phases 1, 3 and 5, and you're with your employer in phases 2, 4 and 6. In terms of the Department of Computing, we offer Computer Science, a 3-year fast-track honours degree in Computer Science. Computer Science for Leaving Cert is a minimum entry requirement, so like Tracy mentioned before about your course or your subjects that are required, you have to have completed Computer Science for your Leaving Cert in order to apply for this course. We offer the 4-year Level 8 in Applied Computing, which has Teaching Council recognition for students interested in progressing to a career teaching computer science at second level. Graduates typically go on to become a software developer, software programmer, mobile app developer, or a secondary school teacher. Then we have a new program in Healthcare Innovation and Technology. This is a very exciting and new area. You'll be looking into the design of the medical and healthcare technology, and you'll be looking into innovating it as well. Then we offer 3 Level 7s we offer computing at a Level 7, computer games development, and computer security and digital forensics. With computer security and digital forensics, typical graduates go on to be a secure system engineer, IT threat analyst, secure application developer and tester, or forensic consultant. One of our graduates, Jackie O'Mahony, she went on to be her first job when she came out of LYIT was analysing the phone data of a criminal on behalf of the guards for a court case. So there's lots of exciting career opportunities in that area. In terms of the computer games development, it's a 3-year Level 7 with the Level 8 add-on 1 year. You have the opportunity to go on to be a games developer, computer programmer, or mobile apps developer. And in terms of our Level 7 in computing, you have the option also to progress on and do a 1-year add-on Level 8. Typical graduates go on to become a data analyzer, database designer and developer, and more varied roles and exciting in the ICT industry. So in terms of our life and physical sciences, this is our largest department at LYIT. We offer the Bachelor of Science with degree award options in Bioanalytical Science or Food Science Nutrition or Pharmaceutical and Medicinal Science. This is a 4-year common entry Level 8 degree program, and typical graduates include a wide variety of and exciting roles in the science discipline, including a biology teacher, quality manager, and pharmaceutical scientist. We also offer the Level 7 and a Level 8 in agriculture with degree award options in animal crop and science and environmental management. This 4-year program is a common entry, and this program meets the Teaching Council requirements for teaching agricultural science to Leaving Cert. This program also includes a work placement, and typical graduates go on to become a farm manager, research and development scientist, or an environmental manager. In terms of our dental nursing, this is a 2-year higher certificate degree in dental nursing. After 2 years, you're a qualified dental nurse, or you can go on to do a course in become a dental hygienist in the likes of Cork or Limerick. In terms of our pharmacy technician, this is a higher certificate 2-year course. After these 2 years, you're a qualified pharmacy technician, but we also have a partnership with the University of Ulster, which allows you to transfer into year 1 of pharmacy at University of Ulster. You can also choose any of the 3 elements from the common entry as a single degree in level 7. So food science nutrition, you'd be looking into testing food and you testing the shelf life of the product. In terms of pharmaceutical and medicinal science, you'd be looking into drug and research development. And in terms of bioanalytical science, you'd be looking into biology, and this has Teaching Council recognition. We have 3 very unique programs that belong to LYIT, and we have a partner with Coventry University. We have physiotherapy, dietetics, and occupational therapy. These 3 programs have a science entry requirement of biology at a H5. The unique thing about these programs are that you study 2 years at LYIT, and then you study at Coventry University for your second 2 years. So after your second year, you're transferring into year 2 of your chosen discipline in Coventry. And our first cohort of students have just headed over to Coventry, passed there in September, and the correspondence between them and ourselves have been amazing. They're enjoying it. Coventry is only about 20 minutes from Birmingham Airport. So it's very easy to get to, and the students are loving it. They say it's like a home away from home. One of our most popular courses at LYIT is Veterinary Nursing. Veterinary Nursing is offered at a level 7 at LYIT, and it's a very competitive course to get into. So if Veterinary Nursing is your number 1 choice at LYIT, then please put it number 1 on your CAO list. In terms of nursing and healthcare, we offer 3 disciplines of nursing at LYIT. We offer psychiatric nursing, which is mental health nursing. More boys go into mental health nursing than any other element of nursing. With this, your work placement over your 4 years would be in the Sligo Leitrim Mental Health Services. We also offer general nursing. Your work placement would be in Letterkenny University Hospital. And general nursing allows you to try the areas such as maybe paediatric nursing, orthopedic nursing, A&E trauma nursing, or maybe you're interested in becoming a public health nurse. Then you're able to do your work placement in these areas. Intellectual disability nursing. This is a very unique aspect of nursing. You're working with people with disabilities, whether they're adults or children. And with this program, you would be doing your work placement in the Donegal Intellectual Disability Services. Early education and social studies. With this department, we offer 2 courses currently. We offer an early childhood care, health and education at a level 6, and we also offer it at a level 8. With this program, graduates typically go on to be an SNA or maybe work in a creche or Montessori, but often students use this as a backdoor entry into primary school teaching. If you didn't achieve your H4 in your Irish for your Leaving Cert and you're doing this course, Early Childhood Care, Health and Education, as a backdoor entry into primary school teaching, then you must take on our 2-year diploma in Irish, which is part-time over 2 years, and then you can go on and do your master's in primary school teaching, which is a great option for anybody out there that wants to become a primary school teacher. In terms of health and social care, we offer it at a level 6 and a level 8 also. We offer it it's a common entry, and then you choose the area that you're interested in. So aging and caring studies, general health and social care, or disability studies. And there's also a work placement involved in this one as well. So your education is your future. If I was to go back and do my Leaving Cert again or fill in my CAO form, this is just some advice I would give you. Choose your courses carefully and list them in genuine order of preference. So as Tracy mentioned, please make sure you put your first choice number 1 on your CAO form. Take care when filling in your CAO form and include your level 6, level 7 options. Always have a backup plan for your level 8 option. So a lot of our courses at LYIT, like I mentioned, level 7, all have, or most of them have, an add-on level 8. So always apply for your level 7 and your level 8 courses. Keep an eye on your deadlines, so especially for your grants or your CAO changes of mind deadlines, and make sure you know the answers to the following questions. What job can I get from this course? What's the unique selling point of this course? So is there a placement? Is it a semester abroad? Why am I going to choose this course? Potential follow-on courses. So like I mentioned with dental nursing, you can go on to become a dental hygienist. What will I be studying? So the modules, what are you going to be studying? What modules are you going to be studying? For more information, you can visit www.lyit.ie. You can email or phone us directly. So my email is victoria.wilson@lyit.ie. Or like Fiona mentioned, we are doing campus tours from February until June, and you can arrange to meet one of our staff on campus, and you can have a private one-to-one campus tour, which normally takes between an hour and a half. So thank you very much, and if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
And so thanks, Victoria. Yeah, we have had a number of questions in, and just let people know, there's been 220 people watching on our Facebook stream over the last 2 sessions. So it's very, I suppose, it's great to see the engagement online as well as on our Zoom platform. So one question that came in, Victoria, is if I were to study the marketing degree with online technologies, would that include social media marketing? So.
Yes, so with this program, social media marketing is one of maybe the most popular and most high demand modules that we would be having. You learn the skill set for all types of marketing, so all types of digital marketing, but yes, social media content creation is also in there.
Yeah, so, and the fact that that marketing degree as well covers modules like copywriting, content marketing, digital media marketing, social media marketing, it really is of the moment as well. And the placement, you mentioned this, Victoria, when you were talking about the program, a 1-year work placement is an option. And like a lot of grads from marketing at LYIT have gone on to amazing things. So some great examples as well. Another question is, someone's asking just for a bit more information about the design and creative media program. So as you mentioned, with the level 8 4-year honours degree program, what you can do in that first semester is a wee taster of all modules, and then you can branch off. Isn't that right, in the level 8?
Yeah, and then with the level 7s, you have your each individual course, and you can do a top-up level 8 on top of them as well with the other 4 elements if you choose your element from the beginning.
Okay, so for people then that are thinking about design, you have 2 options. You have the level 7 in your specific specialism, so it might be fashion and promotion, graphic and digital design, digital film and video, or animation, if you know specifically. But if you don't, the level 8 common entry in design lets you dip your toe in the water of each of those specialisms, and then in the second semester of your first year, so that would be January 2023, you'd then branch off into one of those specialisms. So you'd cover modules like art history, contemporary art design, a couple of different modules in the first semester, taste a little bit of each of those, and then go into the specialism. Another question that's come in, Victoria, is what, so what back door can I use for psychiatric nursing? So there is no back door at level 6, 7. So
no, unfortunately not. Yes, unfortunately not at LYIT. But there's lots of options to explore, going through your UCAS if you wanted to go that direction.
Yeah, and the PLC route.
Region, or a PLC route as well.
Yeah, PLC route. So we'd recommend anybody who maybe is concerned that they're not going to get their first preference level 8 in the nursing to look at your nursing studies courses. Now, earlier, Tracy mentioned about quotas. And that's one thing we do want to highlight, is there are quota restrictions in terms of that. But your backup plan there would be to think about nursing studies at the likes of Donegal ATB. We know Errigal College delivers that. So that would be your backup plan. But there isn't a level 6, 7 option in psych nursing. So that's why filling out those CAO forms, having your options, psych, and maybe investigate ID, for instance. ID nursing, you mentioned that. Victoria. Another question that has come in, Victoria, is why is it important to pick a level 6, 7 and level 8 options?
Well, on your CAO list, as Tracy mentioned earlier, you get an offer for a level 6, level 7 course and your level 8 course. So if you don't receive your offer for your level 8 course, then you still have that opportunity to receive an offer from a level 6, level 7 course, which usually has lower points than your level 8 course. So if you didn't achieve your points, then always have that back door in your level 6, level 7 course.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And I suppose it's making sure that the level 6, 7 backup plan is as good
Back
nearly
is
as your
as
level
good as
8.
your level 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always make
A
sure that,
question A question's come in here now, Victoria, another one, and we're trying to cover as many as we can before we move to our
yeah.
next talk. But what would food science and nutrition leave you qualified as? And I suppose just to let this viewer know that tomorrow night from 7 to
Yep.
7:30, we are live with the Department of Life and Physical Sciences. For 10 weeks, we're going to be live with each of our 10 departments. And tomorrow night, we're actually spotlighting the programme Food Science and Nutrition with Kathy Hannigan and with graduate Tony Kelly as well. So anybody
Yeah.
that's watching tonight that's interested in food science and nutrition, do tune in tomorrow night between 7 and 7:30 on our Facebook page to find out really detailed career
Yeah.
information on this
But
program. But food science,
typical graduates should be going to become a food product developer, food production supervisor, or food quality and safety analyst. They're kind of the typical
uh-huh,
what our graduates have gone on to do from this course.
gone on to do. And also, some people have specialised and gone on to do masters in nutrition or
Yeah.
dietetics as well from that
Yep.
program. So hopefully, Emer, that answers your question. I think we've probably covered as much as we can now,
Yeah.
Victoria. So
Yeah.
thanks so much for joining us and giving us all that information, because it's hard to try and get across detail about 54 CAO programs, but you somehow
Yes.
managed to do that.
Well, it was a very quick overview, but if you do have any more questions, feel free to email me on victoria.wilson@lyit.ie.
Yeah, and again, as Victoria mentioned, anybody that's looking to come to the campus to have a look around, maybe you're a parent watching tonight, because we're quite a few parents online watching us this evening, you can book that visit. You and your partner, your family can come along, and we will take you through the campus and give you a good look around. And that matters when you're making that move to third level. So Victoria is leading that out on behalf of LYT. Thanks, Victoria. Now, the next talk that's coming up this evening, and we'll be breaking for a few minutes until we get ready with Michael Margie. He is the head of Faculty of Business, and he's took time out of his schedule this evening to be with us, and he's going to be talking about supporting the transition to third level. It's a parents' guide, a parents' talk. So he'll be joining us now at 6 p.m. live here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Zoom. So, welcome back, folks. Fiona Kelly here. And so far, we have had talks from Victoria Wilson on full time courses available at LYIT and Tracy Sheridan on the CAO process. We're now going to move over to Michael Margie, the head of Faculty of Business, who's kindly joining us tonight to go through the talk on the transition to third level, a parent's guide. Over to you, Michael.
I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'd just like to give an introduction, I suppose, to myself before I move on to the PowerPoint presentation. I suppose, like all good Donegal people, we want to say hello. That's very part of our DNA, really, and our personality at LYIT. And to tell you a little bit about LYIT, and then to move into what that experience is and how, as parents, to provide support to your students in third level and what that experience is. So the first thing I'd say is you got the introduction. My name is Michael Margie. I'm from Ballyshannon, from the south of the county. There's 4 boys in the family. I was the first of my parents and my grandparents' family to go to third level education. It was a really big experience, big change. No one had been to third level before. I remember when I went to Galway. We went to NUIG, as it's called now, and it had a population that was probably 3-4 times bigger than the town I came from, which was Ballyshannon. So it was a really daunting experience. And I really think the value of higher education was very important for me and for my brothers as well. They all received part of their education, their higher education, here in the Northwest, and they're all abroad, 2 in Toronto, 1 in Seattle, and they've all got good careers from their higher education. Your higher education is your future increasingly now, and it's really, really important to get kids off to as good a start as possible when they step into third level education. And for me, it's afforded me with a lot of opportunities. It's afforded me with the ability to understand and articulate things in front of me and to my own kids now as I have them, and also in terms of the career and the satisfaction that I get out of that there. I suppose the next bit I really want to talk to you about is about LYIT. It's a really, really big place. It probably has the population the size of maybe the 3rd largest town in Donegal. So it really is a town within a town here in terms of Letterkenny. And we also have a second campus in Killybeg. So we span the north and the south of the county in terms of broaching the Barnesmore Gap divide. And I think for my 30 years or so that I've been in LYIT, I want to tell you a little bit about LYIT if I had personality. And I suppose the first thing that sticks out in my mind about LYIT is that we're really interested in the students. It's personal at LYIT. We take a holistic view of student development. And while it is really important about the qualifications that you get and the marks that you get, we don't want students to be overly defined by that piece of paper and some numbers that are on it. And that's why it's really important that we look at student development holistically over the 3 or 4 years that they're going to spend with us in terms of how they develop as a young adult. It's very much their formative years, and increasingly so it's about our clubs and societies that are here. They present opportunities for kids to develop their leadership skills, their organizational skills, their communication skills, their ability to fall in with people, fall out with people, and fall back in with people again. And increasingly so employers are looking to see this on their CVs. They're looking to see how they've worked and engaged with people. What sort of rounded individual is this? So while the result sheet is important, everything else that's going on as well is very important too. And I suppose the point I'm trying to get across there is to just be very conscious that sometimes kids come to third level and they just think it's about turning up a class and leaving. And what I'm trying to say is there's an awful lot more that happens here on the LYIT campuses, and really to encourage students to engage as much as that there, because that's where they get the opportunities to develop their organizational skills, their people skills, their leadership skills. Our clubs and our societies and our sports that are there are great opportunities to do that as well. So that's it. It is about getting your results, but it's much more than a piece of paper with numbers on it. It's about how you develop as a person and a young adult over the 3 or 4 years that you'll be here at LYIT. Another bit of our personality is to try and say yes before we say no. It's all about creating opportunities for the next generation. It's about looking about how we can move them up to the next level, and let them start their careers that will afford them lifestyles and opportunities in front of them. And also as they go on to have their own family and to develop them with all the responsibilities associated with that there. So we're really focused on supporting students. We have fantastic student support services here as well, which has probably been alluded to earlier too. And that's about helping the student get from A to B. So we try here first to say yes before we say no. And I suppose lastly, a big bit of our gig here is to serve the public. I'm a public servant. My job is to serve the public, and is to use everything that we can that's here to move our people, our students, our communities and our towns and villages to the next level. And that's why students that have research projects to do or applied work placement projects, we're looking to see how they can apply that back into their communities, back into their part-time jobs, back into the towns and villages where they're from. And increasingly so, employers are looking to see that as well, to see that growth, to see that personal development, that professional development that's in the students. So the message I'm giving again there is, while the results are really important, the student who engages everything that LYT offers, everything else is happening outside of the classroom, it's really important for their CV development. So now I'm going to move on to my PowerPoint presentation, if that can be brought up. Brilliant. And I'll try and click my way through the slides that are here. So the first thing is to say we're going to look at the purpose. Well, I've just discussed that. The place in terms of LYIT, the people, the opportunity, what's different at third level, what's the keys to success in third level, or support services, and any questions and answers. So really quickly about the purpose. This really is about an opportunity for you to gain a better understanding of the challenges faced in transitioning to third level, and to understand the supports that are there, or really what you're looking for your kid to get out of third level or your child. In terms of place, just to say, it's got two campuses. There's the Letterkenny one. We're getting a new £20 million building and a new library built onto the left-hand side of this picture. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you can just see CoLab, or Business Development Centre there. And that's really important. It's one of the largest business development centres in the island of Ireland. I think there's about 250 employees there, about 30 businesses in there, all from micro one-person businesses to much larger concerns. But again, that presents an opportunity for the students of LYT to get work placements, or also to hear from the expert speakers from industry that are in there. And that's another very important part of LYT, is the world of work. And really getting connected, learning connected to the world of work, really where the rubber hits the road is, it's about applying it in the work. It's about getting ready for employment. So that's some of our buildings that are there. And that's our Killybegs campus, where we have our tourism and food department down there. And coupled with that, there's also a lot of new developments around innovation coming online, around marine and engineering, and also the electrical aspects that are down there as well. So a lot of stuff happening on that campus. There's our lecture theatres, as you can see, a reading room, so you begin to visualize the study environment that the students have here. And also in the library, we also have a suite of small group meeting rooms. So when they need to meet in 2s and 3s or 5s or 6s, those meeting rooms there are available for them. Just a slide got stuck there. I'll just go back onto that one there. It's a bit slow. Hopefully it will stay. So if you look at this, most ITs have the population of a small town. LYT is no different. With all the usual amenities you would expect on campus or in a small town: a library, a shop, a restaurant, a bank, an ATM, a place of worship, counsellors, career guidance, doctors, nurses, sports. Everything you could expect to find in a small town is here in some capacity. So that's the sense of place. Also then, we also have our Business Development Centre here, CoLab as well, and that's where we have a lot of new tech businesses with a lot of variety there, all the way from companies trading energy to virtual reality companies and augmented reality companies, to engineering companies, to tech companies, to companies in social media and digital marketing. There's a complete mix and spectrum there, and that offers opportunities for expert speakers and guest speakers to come over onto our courses, but also for the students to get work placements as well. And what can I say about people? We've approximately 5,000 students, nearly 400 staff. And that's a mix of learners, lecturers, professors, entrepreneurs, multinational companies, community groups, teachers. The list goes on. There's really no end to it, but it's a very vibrant community of well over 5,000 people and between our two campuses, many times approaching 5,500 people. So there's a lot of community, a lot of people, and loads of opportunities if you're about campus to get in the mix with those people and see it a lot more than just coming into class and going again. It's always about people and culture. It's always about leveraging human capital and creativity, and it's about building up your networks. It's about stretching yourself to get out and meet people, to network people. It's obviously a lot harder in the pandemic environment. That's really put huge challenges that are in front of us. But to understand for people stepping in here next September and what that will mean for them there, it really is about people and really is about connecting. Sports facilities that are there. We're also developing a new sports campus in the region of maybe 12 to 14 million. But sports is very important, that activity at LYIT. And I think when we look at our sports and clubs, Fiona, you might correct me on this here, is it 38 we have or somewhere around that figure? I don't know if you can hear me.
50.
Many? Every time I say this, I get this wrong because every time the number has gone up. So there you go. I was going to say 30 or 32. Then I said I better say
50.
38, but it's 50. So think about that there. That's 50 clubs and societies. That's amazing. But that reflects all the diversity that we have here, all the communities that we have here, and to really encourage the students that are coming here to get involved with that there. It's much more than just a piece of paper and a series of numbers on it that are your marks. Of course, that's important, but employers now are looking for an awful lot more. They're looking to see a rounded individual who's got people skills, organizational skills, and is able to work with others and is able to take the initiative as well, as opposed to someone who just sits there and just studies and scores the marks, and then when they go into business, then sometimes they're like our employment, they're like a square going into a round peg. So it's really good to get all that built up on their CV. Some more pictures and photo montages, but the opportunity, let's talk about that. Your future, your education is your future, and when we think about that, it's all about building up to employability. That's what it is. We've really two transitions at LYIT. The first transition is to take people from second level to third level, and the second transition is to take them from third level into employment. And that's about building the opportunities in terms of our clubs and societies. It's about the work placements that we have there. It's about engagement with the guest speakers that we bring up about. It's about the different events that we run, including enterprise events and Entrepreneur of the Year events. We've different conferences that are on and seminars. It really is about getting engaged what's going on in LYIT. So what's different about coming to third level? Well, the first thing is third level is like a new job. It needs hard work, right? And like many jobs, when you're starting off, it's more than 40 hours a week. It could be 45 hours a week. But the idea of being a full-time student at LYIT is based on the idea it's a 40-hour week or just slightly over. And sometimes students have a perception that when they get their timetable and it shows 16 or 18 hours, that's all I have to do. That's all I have to turn up for. And many times that's a message that they give to parents as well. So I'm just going to skip forward a little bit here and then skip back. But if you look at this timetable that's coming up, you can see that in this case here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours. And you think that the rest of the time is time off. But they need to remember that it's a 40-hour week. And that in actual fact, if you came in and started at 9 and finished at 5 or finished at 6, you wouldn't have to do any study in the evenings or at the weekend because you did it all when you were at work. So it's really, really important that you turn up and that you see that you use the time that's available for class and for study. Now, I'm going to give you a little example about the importance of attendance. And if you just watch this here, there's a subject here, I think, called, let's call it project management. There it is there, 1 hour. There's another one, 2 hour. And over here is the third hour. And that third hour is sitting on a Thursday at 4:30. Now, somebody might say or have thoughts that I like the Friday feeling starting early. And I think, you know what, I'll just go home at 1:30, which is up here. It's a little bit earlier. And at 1:30, I can head off and just catch that class and miss the other one. But if I miss that project management class and I keep missing it, I miss a third of the hours for that module. There's only 3 hours in it. Now, I'm going to tell you something about that in a couple of minutes coming up, but think about that for a minute. It's only 1 hour, but I'm going to show you the impact that it has and why it's really important getting off to a good start. Half the gig is turning up. So let's go back over this here, and then I'm going to flip back to that one there. Apologies for flicking screens in front of you. But to come back to this idea of it's a job, it's a 40-hour week, and it needs hard work. What's different about third level? Well, let's think. The transition to second level is it's a semesterized system. So, as opposed to them waiting all year and maybe having balloon exams or assessment at the end, although there's been a lot of change with the pandemic and that, they do get exams twice a year. Your semester will be 12 to 13 weeks of teaching, and in week 15, you're going to get exams. So it happens pretty quickly. You're going to get a lot of alternative assessment methods. That might be less of a hurdle now because of the transitions that's happening in second level. And again, blended and online learning used to be a significant challenge, but a significant part of it will be online learning or blended learning. Of course, turning up in class face to face, but the supports that are provided are online. Making new friends is a significant challenge for some people. They're more than likely to be away from home and dealing with, increased independence, living on their own, cooking for themselves, etc., etc. More freedom. This is the big one here. Contact hours are lower. Big difference to secondary school, where classes might start at 9 and finish at 4, and you have much higher contact hours. Then they come into third level, they see maybe 15, 16 hours, and they think the rest of the time is off. Or they may think, well, I don't need to start studying to the end. I'll leave it to the end. That's the rumor going around here. I can catch up at the end. And it really is about utilizing non-class, non-contact hours. It's that independent element that's really important for the students to get them off to a good start and to encourage active engagement with clubs and societies. And I suppose one other thing I'd say just to note is our primary contact is with the student. So we can't really, as a parent, really engage with you too strongly about particular issues because they're all young adults. But, when they come home in the evenings or when they talk to you about things, the better idea you have about what third level is, when you have those conversations with them, you can be more support. And one of the things we found out about retention is the role that the parent plays in helping providing that support to the student as well as the supports that we provide, the support at home and the understanding about what they're stepping into. So when you're having those conversations with them, you have a really good gauge in terms of what third level is about and what we're able to do at LYIT. So getting off to the right start in third level is really, really important. Half the battle is getting off to a good start. Half the battle is turning up in class and continuing to turn up in class. Why? Well, it's different to the leaving certificate because the teacher in front of you is the person who is going to write the exam and put the questions on the exam. And they're also the person who's going to mark it, right? So that's a big difference. Turning up in class, everything that you're being taught in that class obviously is going to have a huge reflection on what's going to be on the exam paper, right? So it's much different to the leaving certificate. So turning up to class, hearing what that lecturer has to say, hearing how they make sense of it, what frame of mind they see the knowledge of the subject area that they're explaining to you will help make for you offering better answers back to them when they go to mark that paper. So attendance is really going to happen. There's a few things we know, and I know after all the years that I've been in this job and the tens of thousands of students that we've put through the Faculty of Business, here are some things. So let's have a look at that there. We know that over experience. And we haven't done this research in a while, but the last time we done it, we knew that turning up is really, really important. Turning up is the difference between pass and fail. And for students passing 30 credits in a semester, they attended 75% of their classes on average or more. Okay, so if you turn up in 75% of your classes, the chances are highly in favor of you passing all your modules. We also know that if you increase that to 80% or above, right, there's a really strong average that you will end up with an honours degree or an honours average. We also know that if you don't attend and you miss attendance, and when you start to drop below 70%, or when you start to drop below 65%, we know then that the curve drops really quickly because you're missing a third of everything that's been said in that subject. So remember the example I was given about the project management. If you missed just 1 hour, and it was 1 hour on a Thursday at 4:30, you might be coming home explaining it to parents and say, look, it's just 1 hour. It's not a big deal, really. But if it's 1 hour out of 3 hours, I can tell you that student's at risk straight away because they're missing a third of all the contact and everything that's been said about that subject, and it's making it harder and harder for them to pass it. So to save stress for the student, to save stress for the parents, and to save stress for home, turning up really makes a really big difference. So I'm trying to get that point across there. The other thing I would say, the top 3 things, what am I going to say? Attendance, attendance, attendance. Really, really important. Turning up, not just for the classes now, but for everything else that's going on the campus as well. Really getting involved. Remember, this is all funded by the government. This is all funded by taxpayers' money. Your taxpayers' money. And at the end of the day, you really want your student, your child, to get the most they can get out of this in terms of anything that is offered. It's really, really important that they engage. Forming a good habit is really important. Working day by day, bit by bit, and avoiding cramming. All too often, I've seen this every year, students leaving it till the last minute. And this tsunami building up in front of them, and them feeling or thinking to themselves, I can't get through this, right? It's just too big, it's too much in front of them. They've stressed themselves, they put stress at home. Everybody's stressed, we're stressed as well. And what I would say is turning up bit by bit by bit. You know, how did the mouse eat the elephant? Well, he or she ate the elephant bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. So don't let it build up into a big balloon at the end. Form a habit, do your homework, turn up in class, enjoy everything that LYIT has to offer, and to make the best out of it that's there. But really turning up and getting engaged is really important, as opposed to seeing the timetable, just going in for the hour and coming back out again. So I'm just a little bit conscious of time here. I'm going to move on a little bit quicker. All our courses will run a first year module about learning and development in higher education. It might be called learning skills, it might be called development skills. They have different titles, but all our students in first year, we will go through their learning styles, their academic writing skills, their team working, presentation skills, research skills, referencing skills. And sometimes, because it's not the law subject or the engineering subject or the nursing subject or the accounting subject of the course they've signed up, they think it's less important. And you know what? It's probably one of the most important courses because it's helping you learn better. It's helping you understand your memory systems better. It's helping you understand, are you a visual learner, an oral learner, or is it more text-based? You know, and that's really, really important to help you understand how you learn and to get better at it. And sometimes I would say, you know, students don't give that enough attention or enough importance. I suppose support services, you know, we have a medical service here, doctor and counsellors, free medical services. We have a gym here as well. We have a career guidance service. And, you know, really engage those things early in terms of career guidance to find out what it is that people, are looking for on their CV. You know, how to start developing your CV from an early stage and getting better and better at that there as the years move on, as you move through college, and starting to fill that in rather than leaving that to maybe after you've left college. So get all that worked up, get engaged with our career services. We have fantastic support services here in LYIT. I don't have enough time to go into them to detail today, but I'm sure Fiona and Victoria and the rest of the team will. But what do we want to do? We want to assist. We want you to assist us in helping your son or daughter achieve their potential. And for me, third level education really made a huge impact on my life, gave me loads of opportunities to be able to see and understand things differently and to go from one success to another. I'm very thankful for that. I understand the value of education. I would have loved if I had been able to get it here in the Northwest, but I had to go away to get it. I was the first of my family, my parents' family and my grandparents' family. It was really, really significant, but I've never forgot that. And I'll take every opportunity I can to help and support people move from A to B. And increasingly so, your future is your education. And here in the Northwest and in Letterkenny, we're able to do that. We're going to become a university very soon. So really looking forward now, Fiona, to taking any questions. Hope I haven't run over in time.
Yeah. No, you've done great. So you have. So there are a few questions, I suppose, more comments than anything. A comment came in about, I suppose, that sense of community. Michael, that's what makes us different, isn't it? Really, this smaller class sizes, that sense of being part of something.
Yeah, I think at LYIT, I often say a big bit of our identity is connected learning. And there's really three aspects to that. We put an awful lot of value in our relationship between staff and students. It's really, really important. But I think it's very authentic and natural. Staff here really get to know the students. It's a very personal connection with them. And it's very important that it helps them build up their confidence when they want to ask questions or develop themselves or wonder about what career options they want to take. They often talk to their lecturer. The other bit about connected learning as well is into our sports and our clubs and societies. That's why I was saying it was much more than just coming in here and doing class.
Yeah.
And you need that for your CV, for your employability. That's what employers are looking for. And I suppose the last bit is connected, and in terms of that community as well, in terms of all the businesses we have on the campus too, and the opportunities for work placement and the opportunities to hear it from guest speakers or industry speakers coming into the classroom. So very diverse community here, but really engage it all and you'll get the most out of it.
Yeah, a comment came in about getting off to the right start is so important. A question came in about, say, if somebody felt at the very beginning that maybe they'd made the wrong course choice, is LYIT flexible in supporting a student to make a move to an alternative course if there is space? And the answer would be yes to that,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, the answer is yes to that there. I mean, we're really, really student focused here at LYT. I think it's a Donegal thing really, but whatever. We're really interested in people. And, it was obvious to us that I think one of the biggest reasons for dropouts or retention problems was students turning the wrong course. So I think you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but it's definitely within the first 4 weeks or so, you have an
Yeah,
opportunity,
that's right.
maybe extended to 6, where you can change. But there is some requirements about that. You have to have achieved the entry requirements for the course that you're looking to move into, obviously. But we do provide those opportunities there as well for students. And we put a lot of work. I mean, I speak to all first year students, a similar talk to this here. Explaining to them what the expectation at third level is and how to get off to a good start.
That's fantastic. Michael, you've covered so much. And if anybody wanted to get in contact with you, is that okay? Any parents that ever wanted to kind of connect with you, can you give us your contact email?
Yeah, so well, Fiona, you know the answer to that one anyway. The answer to that is absolutely. That's part of my job, and I'm very busy at the moment. But I try and get back to people, or if they had a phone number, send it an email, and I give them a bell probably quicker than I'll type an email. But my email address is michael.margie@lyit.ie, and I'm happy to get in contact with anyone. I'll probably look for your telephone number and give you a bell because I think it's more personal than email. There you go at LYIT, it's personal, but no problem with that at all.
Thanks, Michael. So thanks so much. So, folks, we're now going to be moving on to the next talk of the evening. We're going to be moving towards Dr. Nigel Mckelvey, and we're going to be going through online and part-time courses with a Springboard Plus and July stimulus focus. So we're just going to be taking Nigel, I think, straight on. There's a few questions that have come in, and we've had 291 viewers on our Facebook platform. So we have had, as well as having significant viewers on our Zoom and also YouTube pages, and there's people watching us from all over actually. So that's great to see, not just from our own region here in Donegal, they're coming to us from across Ireland and actually from Europe too. So we've gone international with tonight's event. So moving now to Dr. Nigel Mckelvey, who is going to take us through our online part-time courses with that Springboard Plus focus. So next talk up is Nigel. So we're back again, folks, and we're going to be joined now by Dr. Nigel Mckelvey, who's going to give us a roundup of online and part-time programs with the Springboard Plus and July stimulus focus. So over to you, Dr. Nigel Mckelvey.
Hi, everyone. So Dr. Nigel Mckelvey here from the Flexible and Online Learning Unit at LYIT. And this evening, I'm going to go through some slides that will outline some of the fantastic programs that we have on offer at the moment, as well as giving you an overview of some of the programs that have been running since September 2021 in LYIT. And also to give you an indication as well, I suppose, as to what you might look out for over the coming months, particularly around about May and June time, when we typically announce the next batch of Springboard offerings for LYIT that will begin in September 2022. So on the slides here in front of you, again, I'm not going to read what's on these slides necessarily. I'm going to be going through them and talking over them. And again, feel free to put your questions or your comments, and Fiona will, I'm sure, let me know about them in a few minutes whenever we're done with this. Last year, this was very much an interactive conversation in that I went through some of these slides. I did them relatively quickly. And sort of freed up some time towards the end instead to have some questions and answers, which I think people tended to find most beneficial. So at the minute, we have applications open for the following programs that are on the screen there in front of you: a postgraduate certificate in artificial intelligence, a certificate in management and leadership, which is incredibly popular at the moment. So if you are in any way interested in that, feel free to apply as soon as possible. The certificate in Revit and 4D BIM is also incredibly popular at the moment. The BSc in electric vehicle technology is new to LYIT. And it is a course that is filling fast at the moment as well, and for obvious reasons. The certificate in social media and web marketing for the tourism sector is a really interesting one. It was very popular back in September 2021, and we have received funding to run it again now, starting in March 2022. Just a note on the postgraduate certificate in artificial intelligence. It is 30 credits at level 9, but there is an option upon completion of the postgraduate certificate to move on and actually complete a dissertation, and you would be graduating with a Master of Science in Artificial Intelligence Research, which will be a very, very good qualification to have under your belt. If you go to springboardcourses.ie, you can filter by the provider name, which is obviously the Letterkenny Institute of Technology, and that allows you then to see the different courses that are on offer at the moment. So as I say, the courses on screen in front of you there at the moment are starting in either late January 2022, early February 2022, or early March 2022. And again, the details are on springboardcourses.ie and also lyit.ie. If you have any questions about any of them, the brochures are on LYIT website, but you can contact Springboard at lyit.ie, and either Amy or Catherine will get back to you as soon as possible with that information. I suppose, along with applying for these programs of study, it's important to understand that because they're Springboard funded, that means that if you are in employment, up to 90% of the fees will be covered. And if you are unemployed, 100% of the fees is covered, so you don't have anything to pay, essentially. But there are eligibility criteria that you need to provide us with documentary evidence to show us that you meet the requirements under Springboard. So that may be providing us with a copy of your passport or your national identity card, providing us with a CV, copy of your parchment or your latest transcript of results from the highest qualification you have to date. It would also likely involve you sending us maybe a redacted payslip, just again evidence of your employment, or even a letter from your employer confirming it. If you're unemployed, then maybe a social welfare letter or a correspondence from Revenue, just to provide evidence of that. Typically as well, we would require documentary evidence that you've lived here for 3 out of the past 5 years. So that could be a redacted bank statement, it could be a utility bill, anything with your name and address on it for the corresponding years. If there's any queries whatsoever on what it is that you need to submit, just ask Springboard at lyit.ie, and they'll come back to you with exactly what's needed for you and your own personal circumstances. On the screen there in front of you as well are a list of the courses that we had funding for under Springboard that began in September 2021. So these courses that are on the screen in front of you just now are currently closed for application. They're running. But what it does let you see is the vast array of Springboard options that are in there for people to avail of. It was a really successful year, September 2021. The courses across the board filled. The vast majority of these courses are 100% online. There are 1 or 2 of the courses in there that are blended delivery, which means that there are some on-campus interactions, some on-campus classes to complement online. But again, the details of that are included in the brochures on each of those programs, which again, it's on lyit.ie. So as you can see, there's a vast array of options in there for people to choose from that would allow people to reskill in areas that perhaps they're currently employed in. So maybe you are employed in the computing sector, but you don't have a postgraduate or a master's in cybersecurity, as an example. Then the option is there for you here. And by the way, those postgraduate diploma options that are listed on the screen all have the option to progress onto full masters by completing an additional dissertation at the end of that postgraduate diploma study. And that's, I think, a really important thing for people to know and to understand as well, that you can get your full master's qualification at a vastly reduced rate by looking at these Springboard options. Looking at these, or looking at this list in front of you here tonight as well, is perhaps an indication of what might be available again in September 22. I obviously can't guarantee that everything that's on the screen here in front of you will be funded again for September 22, but we will know most likely by around about mid-May of this year, and the applications usually open anywhere from the end of May until the beginning of June. Anywhere in between that window is when we would make our announcement of what we've got funding for, and the portal for applications opens at that point. If you are really going to be following this because you're seriously interested in some of these courses, please do keep an eye on springboardcourses.ie from the middle of May onwards, or you can check in with Springboard at lyit.ie, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have official confirmation of what's going to be running again, essentially. So again, hopefully that's of benefit to you going through this. I'm not going to read these particular slides. They're available for you to have a gander at here yourself. It's about the rules and the regulations, I suppose, that we need to be able to gather documentary evidence from you that you meet the eligibility criteria. So again, for some of you that maybe were born outside of the EU but have been here for a number of years and working here, evidence of having a stamp 4 for 3 or more years would need to be provided as well, just to ensure, again, that you satisfy the criteria for Springboard moving into 22. And again, not reading out these slides, but you get the general gist. There's a bunch of documents that every single applicant has to produce, but I would imagine that most people are quite happy to do so, given that, again, if you're currently unemployed, all your fees are covered, and if you're currently employed, then 90% of your fees are covered. Okay, so I'm just going to flick through these slides, and that's just some evidence, some examples of the types of evidence that you can actually include when you're applying. And please do include at application stage. A lot of people might fill out the application form on springboardcourses.ie, and we would receive that and we would process that. But if you haven't provided all the additional documentary evidence, we can't complete your application. In other words, we need to then go back to you by email and request those additional documents. And sometimes that can delay your chance of being issued with an offer. Because, as I say, when Springboard opens up, it is rapid fire. People tend to be really on the money, on the ball, in applying for particular courses. So if you know you're going to be applying this month for something that we currently have on offer, have your ducks in a row, get all your documents ready for submission. And if you're not going to be applying until maybe the end of May, start of June for the September 22 intake, then again, around about April time, set something up, maybe a little alert on your phone to remind yourself to get all your documents together, just to make sure you have it there, maybe as a single zipped folder or a single document ready to submit when the time comes. It can make all the difference in the world. So again, just to summarize really, and then I'm quite happy to answer any questions you might have. Springboardcourses.ie is where you'll find out all the information that's available. And again, if you want a more sort of one-to-one conversation or a bit of feedback on a particular course of study that you're interested in, or you want to communicate your own personal circumstances to me with regard to qualifications, or maybe you want to ask me a bit of guidance or advice on how to get into a particular line of work, let's say, and are there any Springboard opportunities at LYIT to assist you, then feel free to contact me personally, Nigel.Mckelvey at lyit.ie, or for more general inquiries, contact Springboard at lyit.ie directly. So Fiona, that's the summary of my slides at the moment, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so we do have some questions that have come in, Nigel. So I'm just going to take them as we see them, that they've come through on Zoom, as well as Facebook and on YouTube. So first question is from Tracy, and she is asking, I did mentoring and management a few years ago, but it was only a 10 credit program. And she sees now that the managing and mentoring is 30 credits. She'd be hoping to go on and do a level 8 course. Would it be worthwhile looking at that managing and mentoring program, 30 credits, having done the 10 credits? And I would say, yeah. Would that be right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to build the number of credits that you have attained at a particular level. And that's what allows you to meet the entry requirements for a course that then is a bit higher up the chain. So yeah, the more credits you can build at a particular level, the better. That then, alongside your work experience, perhaps, would allow you to gain entry into another program of study. Because remember, we have our RPL, or Recognised Prior Learning Opportunities as well, that someone may not have a major qualification under their belt, but they may have a significant number of years experience in a particular role that essentially complements and supports whatever qualification you might have. So the combination of both is then reviewed, and that may allow you to meet the entry requirements for a larger program of study.
And we've seen a lot of people come in through Springboard courses at LYIT and other courses at LYIT who've used RPL. So I suppose the process really involves maybe mapping their experience in industry to
Correct.
the program that they're planning to come into. So you find a lot of people
Yes.
maybe in the IT sector who are working
Yes.
in industry for years, but maybe never qualified, but have lots of
Absolutely. I mean,
experience.
yeah, you could have people that would have qualified back, let's say, in the late 90s or early 2000s. They may have gained what would have been referred to as a diploma in something. So a diploma in computing, let's say, from the year
Hmm.
2000. That would be an equivalent of a level 7 ordinary level degree nowadays. And typically, a level 7 qualification wouldn't allow you to gain entry into a level 9 postgraduate diploma. However, if you have a level 7 or a diploma in computing from the late 90s or early 2000s, and you've been working in computing in that industry ever since, then there's every possibility that that work
Hmm.
experience, along with that qualification, would allow you to gain entry onto that level 9 postgraduate diploma and ultimately exit with a master's potentially.
Yeah, and that's what's great, I suppose, is giving that value to the experience in industry, that professional industry experience. Another question that
Yes.
came in was about the list that you had up. If somebody wanted to have a
Mhm.
look at that or see it, could they email you?
Yes, absolutely. No problem at all. But it is actually all on lyit.ie as well. But yeah, no problem.
Fantastic.
Drop me an email. Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody that's looking for the list of those programs that Nigel was showing this evening on screen can go to lyit.ie/springboard and check those programs out. Another question that came in was, does Springboard, and you did kind of cover this, but I suppose it's no harm in asking it again, does Springboard offer programs each year? I missed a program last year and would really like to apply this year for that program. Now, they don't specify which program, but they have
Mhm.
asked, like, is it like a repeat, or what way does that work, Nigel?
Up until this year, I suppose we have been very lucky and very successful in that we have gained repeated funding for a lot of the same programs year on, year out. And we've been very lucky in that regard. But there's no guarantee that we would submit an application for funding for a particular program of study that's maybe been funded for the past 5 years. There's no guarantee that that will definitely be funded again next time round. But we have been quite successful in repeat funding.
Hmm.
What is going to be different though this year is that whatever we receive funding for the 2022 intake will be a multi-annual funding. So if it's funded this year, it'll be funded for the next 3 years, which means that whatever we advertise now in late May, start of June 2022, those courses will be running for 3 years in a row, essentially funded. So
Hmm.
that's something to watch out for. But that individual that missed the opportunity for the program last time round, please do, as I say, even set a little alarm in your calendar tonight for some date in the middle of May, just to double check springboardcourses.ie or email springboard@lyit.ie to find out what did we get, what's on offer, and we'll let you know.
Yeah. And that's what's interesting too about Springboard as well, is that yeah, we have a small number of programs right now that are recruiting. You can check that out on our website,
Yeah,
but it's mainly that kind of summer announcement. So for anybody who
absolutely.
has that kind of itch or that urge to study and come back, Springboard's
Mm.
great because of that funding element. Now, another question came in, and I think this question has come in from a lady called Tanya. She's commenting, as a mature student, will there be a fee for part-time courses? I'm interested in the area of early childhood studies. Did my Leaving Cert way back in '95, but I did not get the level 6 QQI award in special needs that would allow me to gain entry into this course. So I suppose that
Mhm.
course, what the course that Tanya would be talking about, isn't a Springboard course. But what
Okay.
I would like to highlight to Tanya is that we do have another event, and it's a first ever event for LYT, specifically on part time and also then separately postgrad programs taking place next Wednesday night. So that's the 26th. And if you want to kind of jump on to that talk, the Department of Early Education and Social Studies will be participating in that program talk. So we definitely can go into the options for anybody thinking about that,
Mm.
and also give you some more detail about payment and how much it would cost to do the part-time option as well. And there's some great work happened there as well with Donegal ETB in the level 6 part-time space as well in early early childhood care, health and education. So Tanya, we in terms of your question tonight, not for Nigel, but it is if you want to email fiona.kelly@lyit personally, I'll come back to you on that as well. So in terms of yourself. One other question that's come in, and I'm conscious that I hope we don't run out of time because there's a few questions coming your way. But how does someone apply to Springboard course? So they see the course there this evening now, they go and check out lyit.ie, check out what's
Mhm,
available now in January,
mhm,
and how do
mhm.
they apply?
Yeah, so if, for example, the postgraduate certificate in AA, the one that's at the top of the list there tonight, if that's something that's of interest to you, go to springboardcourses.ie, so www.springboardcourses.ie. If you haven't already set yourself up with an account on there, it's really simple to do. All you need to do is set up your email address, you register it with the password, and then you go in and there's an option, there's a drop-down menu where you can search courses. You can select Letterkenny Institute of Technology, and you could search by keyword. So if AA is in the course title, then just put in the keyword search AA and click search, and the course will pop up. So you'll probably see the one that was advertised for September 21, but the one that will be running in February 22 will have February 22 in brackets beside it. You'll also see the closing date and the start date of the course, which will indicate to you, obviously, that you're looking at the right one. You'll not be allowed to apply for the one that's already started, so you don't have to worry that you're applying for a course that's already running, because it won't actually permit you to do it. So springboardcourses.ie, set yourself up with an account. That allows you to apply. You can apply actually for up to 10 courses at a time on springboardcourses.ie, which is really useful to know as well, particularly when it comes to the summer recruitment process. Well, where maybe there's a whole bunch of courses that Letterkenny Institute of Technology will be running and offering that you'd be interested in applying for. Feel free to apply for more than one, is what I'm trying to say. Because if one course fills and maybe you aren't successful in that one, there's every possibility that you could get your place on another alternative course at LYIT. So feel free to apply for up to 10.
That's fantastic. And again, that multiple choice in terms of applying is a big deal, Nigel, because you might see a couple of different courses that spark your interest, but being able to do that. Now, you don't have to indicate a
Yeah.
preference or anything. Like it's not like
No, you
CAO
don't.
where you
No.
just the 10 choices, yeah.
It's your 10 choices. You pick whatever number of courses you're interested in. And what we do as well in LYIT, which is a really useful thing and a very good thing to do. If, for example, an academic head of department reviews your application and thinks they're not really meeting the entry requirements for this course, and unfortunately we can't offer you a place, what they do tend to do is, if there is another course currently on offer through Springboard that you would actually meet the entry requirements for, they'll advise you on that, which gives you another opportunity to apply if you haven't already done so. So we've done that multiple times for students that maybe applied for one of the postgraduate diplomas at level 9 and they didn't really meet the entry requirements. But what we did do is we advised them on a different course of study in the Department of Computing to apply for, and they got accepted onto that one instead. And by completing that course, that then allows them to apply next year for the level 9 course that they were really interested in. So it's like a
Yeah, that's
stepping stone.
interesting. Yeah, that's great because at least it's not a door closed. There's an option,
Exactly.
a door number
Exactly.
two in terms of it. Another question about courses now. I don't think again it's kind of in that space of part time, but do we have any accountancy courses in the evening? Yes, LYIT has run the payroll and computerized accounts program, part time program in the evening times, but it starts in September. So if that individual would like to contact me again, fiona.kelly@lyit.ie, I'll definitely connect them with the right people again for that September intake program. And as I said, we're going to be running our part-time and postgraduate programs evening next Wednesday night from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. And we'll be going through all those courses that have openings in either May/September. So it's a great kind of, I suppose, awareness event to let you see what is available at LYIT. And these are kind of non-funded courses. So Nigel, if someone's watching tonight now and they're thinking, right, well, I wouldn't mind doing something. Should I just give this a go? Springboard really is a great option, isn't it?
It's fantastic. We get really, really good comments and feedback from students who undertake these Springboard courses. People that have maybe been out of education for a while as well and are quite maybe daunted at the prospects of coming back. They find Springboard, they're short, they're snappy, they're mostly all online, and it's a fantastic way to get your foot on the ladder, if that's what you're trying to do. I know a lot of people as well that have maybe gotten a degree 10, 15 years ago in an area, and they're just maybe a bit bored now, of their particular job, or they feel like they're not going anywhere in that particular career and they want to change things up. That we have conversion courses as well that convert your skill set essentially. So you may have a degree in, I don't know, you may have a degree in biology, let's say, but you really want to get into technology. Well, if you have a degree in biology and you want to go down the technical route, then you could do the HDIP in computing, which is a conversion course. So that's level 8, and that qualifies you as a computing graduate at that point. And that's all done and dusted in 1 year.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
fantastic.
fantastic opportunities in there, and as I say, we have some entry level 6, level 7 programs as well. So for people that
Mhm.
maybe have a leaving cert and maybe didn't really go any further than that at a given point, there's some entry routes there as well for you.
And I think it's that mix from level 6 right the way up to level 9. And for anybody watching, level 6 is generally like that 2 year course, but in Springboard, there can be much less time. Like you could
Yeah.
be talking about a 6 month delivery for some of our level 6 programs. And then there's level 7s and level 8s and 9s. And it shows you on the LYIT website what level it is. You can click on the course, you can check out what you'll expect to learn, and it shows you
Mhm.
then how to apply. So anybody watching tonight, and again, that ability to be able to study, to have it pretty much funded. So even if you're working, sometimes it's only 10% of the fees you have to pay. Like that
Yeah.
is a big draw.
It is. It is. When you look at the price of a typical postgraduate diploma in something at level 9, for example, you're looking at a few thousand. Whereas under Springboard, you might have nothing more than maybe €400 to pay if you're employed. If
Yeah.
you're unemployed, it's zero. So that
Yeah.
there, it's significant.
That's amazing. So it is. Another question came in on Facebook, and so far this evening we've had 428 people viewing the talk. So very popular this evening in terms of our lives as well. But someone thinking about, and again, I suppose it doesn't come in under Springboard, but I suppose your message is clear tonight. I'd love to go into adult nursing. She has highlighted on our social media pages, but just can't afford it. So we might suggest that that person clicks in and watches the 7:30 talk about finance and funding your third level journey, because it's surprising the supports that are there for anybody
Mm.
going back into education. But I suppose your message really, Nigel, is just kind of go for it.
Go for it. Absolutely. Have a look at what's on there at the moment for those courses that are starting now in January, February, or March. We have a limited number at this time of the year, but keep an eye from mid-May. Between mid-May and mid-June is when we will announce, and that's when we start recruiting for September intakes.
That's fantastic. Nigel, your
Mm.
wealth of information. Thanks so
No
much for
problem.
joining us this evening. Next up, we're going to be joined by Rashi Mccormick. She's LYIT's Disability Officer, and there is very little that she doesn't know when it comes to Here, Dare, and student supports at LYIT. So be sure to join in and comment to us live at 7 o'clock here on Zoom, Facebook, and on YouTube. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's live sessions. We're now going to be joined by Rashi Mccormick, LYIT Disability Officer, and Rashi's going to guide us through here and there. And again, feel free to send in your questions via Zoom chat, also via our Facebook platform, and also via YouTube. And we'll ask your questions direct to Rashi at the end of our session. So over to you, Rashi.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Rashi Mccormick, and I am Disability Officer here at Letterkenny IT. I work in the Curve, the Access Office, and we support all students with disabilities to make their journey in college as successful and enjoyable as possible. So I have a presentation now. We'll go through it, and then there's going to be the option then for questions. Fiona's going to keep an eye on that, and then I'll get the opportunity to answer that at the end. Okay, now I don't need to introduce myself again. I am the Disability Officer and I'm based in the Curve. Okay, what I'm going to discuss tonight, I'm going to start with the DARE program, and then I'm also going to discuss the HERE one. Now, I'm going to mention and probably focus on Letterkenny IT and what our supports are and our processes, but the same applies for every college in the country. They're just the ones. Virtually every university and IT now is part of DARE. Okay. Basically, DARE is a way of, it's an encouragement for students with disabilities to get into third level, especially students who've been impacted negatively because of their disability. And what DARE offers is reduced points for places for students that are school leavers that have a disability. Okay, and it varies depending on the college and the course as to what the points would be and how many places there are. Now, in Letterkenny IT, every course has at least one place that's DARE available, and our allowance is 30 points reduction. Okay. Now that's not moving on for me for some reason. There we go. These are the questions you should ask yourself. Did your disability have a negative impact on your performance in school? And that might be that you missed a lot of time, maybe because of hospital appointments or being unwell, or there could be mental health reasons. And the other thing is, are you afraid that you may not qualify and get enough points in your Leaving Cert? Okay. And then the third thing is that you must be under the age of 23 on the 1st of January. So basically, it's school leavers or recently left school. Okay. All disabilities are eligible to apply for consideration. So whether it's physical, sensory, learning difficulty, neurological, mental health, or physical, or specific, sorry, you can apply. Okay. So especially for students that their disability has impacted on their ability to perform in school. Okay. There's there's two parts to qualifying for DARE. One is that you meet the educational impact criteria, and that is filled in by your school. So the school will complete, whether you missed days off, whether you got allowances. It might be things like you weren't able to take part in extracurricular activities and so on. So the school fill that in. Then you must have evidence of your disability. And depending on your disability, depends on your disability as to what qualifying documentation you're going to need to provide. So most times it's a letter from a consultant that details what the disability is and how it has impacted on you. Okay, so you need both of those, the educational impact and the evidence of disability, to qualify for DARE. Okay. You must provide the evidence that is asked for. Okay, and we can go through those if required. Now, okay. So as I said, educational impact is things like, did you get supports in school? I mentioned attendance, your school experience. So that may be things like extracurricular activities. It may be that you mightn't have been able to have your lunch with everybody else for a reason. Did it impact on your exam results? For example, if you had a dyslexia, for example, has that impacted your ability maybe to do as well as you should? Or any other educational impact? Okay. The one thing I mentioned there was the dyslexia, and if you're or applying on the basis of dyslexia, the school has to show that it's negatively impacted quite severely on your literacy or numeracy skills, and that is shown with the percentiles for qualifying. Now, I'm just going to mention the reduced points. If the Leaving Cert points for a course is 366, you could, in Letterkenny IT, if you qualify for DARE and you're offered the DARE place, you could actually get in on 336 points. There's a 30-point allowance within Letterkenny IT. Every college is different. Okay, so you'd need, if you're applying, say, to Trinity and you're applying for a DARE place, you'd need to check out what their allowances are, what their point differential is. Okay, you need to be aware you must meet the entry requirements for the program. Okay, so what that would mean is, for example, if you were coming into, say, a nursing program and you have to have biology or you have to have English and maths, you must meet those entry requirements. And then the reduced points comes into it after that. Okay, the amount of points is dependent in the other colleges on how many places there are, how many DARE places there are, and how many DARE applicants there are, how many qualify for the DARE applications. Okay, the benefits. Now, just be aware, in Letterkenny IT, we actually don't make a difference of students who have a disability and have qualifying documentation and those who qualify for DARE. So there are students who might have been late applying or weren't able to get their paperwork on time. We will still provide the post-entry supports in Letterkenny. Other colleges may be different. Okay, so there's various benefits. Here we would do an orientation program, a separate orientation program for students with a disability at a quieter time, and would go into more in-depth with regard to the supports and everything that's available. Okay, we provide learning support if required, assistive technology. It could be reading software for somebody with dyslexia. It could be voice recognition software. It could be actually laptops if required. Okay. Exam accommodations are very common and very beneficial for students with disability, and that varies. It could be a separate venue, it could be extra time, a scribe, a reader, exam breaks, and so on, depending on when we do a needs assessment, what comes out of that. You may qualify for an educational support worker. That's generally a student with a physical or sensory disability, and that support worker may be helping you with personal care. They may help with note-taking in class and so on. Academic tuition, that really would be when a student would miss a lot of college or maybe miss classes because of their disability. And then transport for somebody with a physical disability generally. Okay. And as I said, you don't have to be eligible for DARE. We will do a needs assessment to discuss what supports might be required. The other supports we have at Letterkenny IT for all students are things like our Maths Learning Centre, if you have any difficulty with the maths in your course, our Communications Learning Centre, which is support for academic writing, referencing, things like that students struggle with when they start college because they haven't seen it before and they haven't come across it before. And then we also, for those of you doing Leaving Cert Applied, we also do a Leaving Cert Applied Access course, specifically for students doing Leaving Cert Applied, to give them a stepping stone to be able to come into third level. Okay, the instructions now. What you really need to do is make sure that you have applied to the CAO by the 1st of February. Okay, that's less than 2 weeks away now at the moment. So make sure you've made your application. Review the DARE handbook. It's online, and all your schools will have a copy of it as well if needed. Okay. The first part is section A and the supplementary information form, and you must tick yes to question 1. Okay, and if you tick yes to question 1, you then will you check what's required and you start gathering your documentation. Now, my advice to you is start gathering that now. Don't wait until February, March, because often consultants are busy if you haven't got a letter already, or even the school might be busy trying to do educational impact statements and so on. So it's really important that you do it in a timely manner. Okay. And then everything has to be submitted by the 15th of March. Now, there is no leeway with that with the CAO. If you're late, they won't accept it at all. They won't look at it. If you have been accepted for DARE last year, in the question 1, you tick 1B, and that then your qualifying criteria will carry over. You're allowed to carry over your DARE qualifying for 1 year. Okay. The supplementary information form, this is the information here. Everything has to be by 5:15 on the 1st of March to tick the box, and then the documentation by the 15th of March. All right. The evidence of disability, that must be completed by an appropriate professional. I mentioned a consultant, or have a up-to-date report from a consultant, or from a psychologist if that's what's required. Okay, and I mentioned the educational impact statement. That must be completed by your school, your secondary school. So download the form, and then you complete the application checklist with the school, and then they complete the rest. So the checklist is just the overall details, and then the school then will do the rest, and that has to be then signed by the principal or vice principal. So that's why I'm saying start gathering it now, because if you're going at the last minute, there could be a lot of people in front of you and it can be delayed. So who fills in the form in the school? It has to be either the guidance counsellor, a learning support tutor, your year head, a visiting teacher visiting teacher for the blind or for the deaf generally, or the principal or deputy principal. Okay, it must be signed though and stamped by the school principal or deputy principal, or it won't be assessed at all. Okay, and then 15th of March is the date that everything has to be gone back. As I mentioned, the evidence of disability, basically what that is, it provides verification of your disability from the appropriate consultant. Okay, and as I said, it's either an existing report, and if you look at the DARE criteria, it gives you the years that you have so for example, some has to be in the last 2 years, some has to be in the last 3 years, and some reports can be indefinite. Okay, so just be aware of that. If you have the existing report, that's grand. Otherwise, the evidence of disability must be completed, signed, and stamped by the appropriate professional, which is generally a consultant in an appropriate field, and then accompanied by if it's not signed and stamped by them, you can get their business card or headed paper, and that covers you. Okay. Somebody with a specific learning difficulty, if you have an old psychological assessment, that's fine, and then you just need up-to-date literacy scores to add to that, and they can be done in the school. Okay, now just be aware, a letter from your GP is not qualifying criteria. Okay, they may be able to complete the evidence of disability, but they must have the appropriate information on file from the consultant or specialist and be able to provide that if necessary. Okay, now as I mentioned about the age of reports, anybody applying for that has ADHD, ADD, mental health, or significant ongoing illness, those are the ones that have to be the newest reports. They can't be less than 3 years old. Okay, so the oldest date that they can have been provided is the 1st of February 2019. If your report is older than that, you'll need to go back to the provider and ask them to provide an up-to-date report. Okay, again, the psychological assessment, as I mentioned before, and then the literacy and numeracy scores below the 10th percentile for somebody with dyslexia and dyscalculia. Okay. Now, the one thing to remember with that is the testing in the school must have been done in the last 2 years. Okay, it used to be 1 year, but now they've a wee bit more leeway. So it has to have been done the last 2 years within the school if you haven't got an up-to-date report. Okay. What I would advise you to do is make yourself or familiarize yourself with what criteria you need. And you get that on the evidence of disability in the DARE section in Access College. It's definitely worth looking at that because it'll make you more aware of what you need and also alleviate any concerns about reports or anything that you might have. Okay. Tips that I would give, having been involved in this for a few years, is you need to look at the handbook very carefully and chat to your parents or guardians because when you look and read through it, you'll realize then, A, if you qualify, and B, what you need to provide to be able to benefit from the support and the reduced points. Okay. If you do qualify, or you think you do, you answer question 1 on the form at the very beginning. You need to chat to your teacher, and I said before who the qualifying teachers are, about getting that educational impact statement filled in by the school. Okay. Get the documentation early. If you have it at home or the school has it, that's brilliant. If not, and you have to go looking for it, it does take time. You need to send good quality copies. Do not send the originals of any reports. Make sure you send copies and make sure all the pages are there, because what sometimes has happened is students have, for example, a psychological assessment, they've photocopied but they've left out maybe a page with the percentiles in it or with the literacy scores or whatever. So it's important that all the pages are in it, and make sure that you send it on time and keep your proof of postage, because if there and it has happened where the CEO has lost documentation. If you have the proof of postage, that can be used at the appeals process for you to be able to resubmit it. Okay, be very careful of the deadlines. Do not forget them. You have to have applied now by the 1st of February to the CAO. You have to have ticked question 1 by the 1st of March, and you have to have everything in by the 15th of March. Otherwise, it won't be looked at all. Okay. I'm mentioning this because students sometimes get mixed up. DARE is not the SUSI grant. Okay, the SUSI grant is what helps to pay for your fees and maintenance and so on in college. And we have a talk on it now at half 7. But just be aware, DARE is completely different. DARE is really a route, an access route for somebody with a disability into college that might not get in because of difficulties they might have had because of their disability. Okay, the SUSI is what pays for your fees and you get maintenance. Now, these are my details, Roisin.mccormick at lyit.ie. If you have any questions at all, feel free to email me or ring me. That's my number there as well. There will be questions because everybody's different, and there might be you might be in a situation where you might need clarification. Feel free to get in touch with me. And I know if you have any questions, just put them on whatever form of social media you're using, and Fiona will be asking me them at the end. Now, I'm also going to discuss the higher education access route. And here is basically an admissions route for students because of financial or social reasons or cultural reasons. They are underrepresented at college. Okay, basically, it's to give everybody a fair chance that does the Leaving Cert to get into college, no matter what background you come from. And this is a good example. Higher professionals, 100% of their children go to college, whereas non-manual workers, only 23% of theirs go, because there isn't a historical, there isn't a history of family members going to college. The same with affluent areas in Dublin compared to less affluent areas. Okay. Again, it's not the SUSI grant, but it is a source of finance, generally post-entry, but also it's got the chance of getting in on reduced points as well. So again, that's the same example that I used for the DARE. In Letterkenny IT, it's a 30-point reduction as well, or up to a 30-point reduction if you meet the minimum requirements, if you qualify for here and you get a here place. Okay. Even if you don't qualify for here, and this is very important, no matter what college you go to, there is a social finance called Students Assistance Fund that you can apply for. Again, it's means tested and there's qualifying criteria, but just be aware of that when you go to college as well. Okay, now these are the important facts that you need to know. If there's 4 or less children, dependent children, your income must have been below 45,790 in 2020. And if that is the case, that's one thing that has to be the case. If there's more than 4 children, it's a slightly increase. I think it's 50,000 that the family household income can have been. And then there's a combination of criteria that can be included. So you have a medical card or GP visitor card, where your parents in social welfare for at least 6 months. Are your parents are they non-manual workers or semi or unskilled manual workers? Did you go to a JESH school? And do you live in an area of concentrated disadvantage? Now, there's a combination of those, but generally you have to fulfill question 1, and then 2 or 3 of the others. Okay, the combinations can be shown on here.ie or accesscollege.ie. Now, as I said, talk to your parent or guardian. That's the first thing. You have to meet the income limit. That is the important thing. If your household income was more than the 45,790, you won't qualify for here. Okay. Again, like there, you need to apply by the 1st of February. Review the handbook. You must complete all the online information by the 1st of March. And then the paperwork has to be handed in by the 15th of March. Now, you are going to need like a statement from social welfare or a balancing statement. So ask for them in a timely manner. All right. So when you fill in the form, you will get a checklist. Okay. And that's based on the way you've answered the questions. And that checklist, you just tick it off as you go along when you've got the documentation to fully make the application. Okay. You should start gathering it as soon as possible. Don't be leaving it to the last minute, because as I said, the country, the students in the country that are going to qualify for here, they're all going to be looking for the paperwork, and it does take time. So don't be leaving it to the last minute. And as I say, 15th of March again is the important date. Okay. Okay. What documentations do you need? If you are, or the family is employed, your mum or dad are employed, you need a statement of liability. Okay. And that can be got from the tax office. Okay. If your family are on social welfare, you'll need the social welfare statement for 2020. And that will come from that. They're used getting, if you get in touch with the social welfare office, they will get it, sign and stamp it and send it out to you. If the family's been made redundant, like your mum or dad have been made redundant, you need the notification of redundancy, retirement. And then if you are an incoming student and you've been in the care of the state, then a letter from TUSLA on headed TUSLA paper is required in order for you to qualify under that. Okay. Again, study the handbook very carefully. Do the application online accurately, because that's what shows you the checklist of documentation you need. And it's very important to describe in detail what your parent's occupation is. Okay, if it's not on the drop down, go type it in detail. Okay, as I said, get the documentation early. Don't leave it to the last minute. Send good quality copies. Do not send the originals. Keep proof of postage, and don't forget your deadlines. In Letterkenny AT, the here contact is Brian McGonigal, and his contact details are there. Or feel free to contact me as well, because I'll point you in the right direction if necessary. Okay. Now here are your timelines. The closing date for ticking the question 1 is the 1st of March. I would advise you to do it on the 1st of February, because quite often what happens is students forget. They think, oh, I've done that already, and then they haven't. So make sure that you tick it by the 1st of March at the latest. Everything has to be in by the 15th of March. As I say, there's no leeway in that. By the end of June, you will get notification from DARE or HERE through the CAO, generally by email, to say if you've been successful or not. Okay. If you haven't been successful and you feel you should have and you want to appeal, you have to do that by, I think it's a 2-week gap you're given to do that. You'll find out if you've been successful in August, and then the orientation in the college is mostly end of August, beginning of September. Okay, submit it, check it, and send it. Those are the 3 instructions I would give you. Okay, remember you can apply to both DARE and HERE, and anybody who qualifies for both that has a disability and is possibly from a low socioeconomic background, then you get priority for places that are available. So it's worth applying for. More information, as I said, is on Access College, and I would search and look at that prior to making the application now on the 1st of February. Okay, that's all now, Fiona. Any questions or queries coming in there, or any answers needed?
Yeah.
I will try my
Yeah.
best.
There's a few questions, so let's take them from the top. So, hi, it says Rashi. When you say consultant or psychologist, could this be the child's national educational psychologist? Thanks, from Anne.
Yes, NEPS. Yeah, National Educational for Psychological Assessment. That's fine. Yeah, as long as it's from a qualified professional.
Okay. Is an occupational report sufficient for DCD?
Developmental coordination disorder. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, as long as it
Is that okay?
is within the right time frame. Developmental coordination disorder. The OT is fine. Yeah.
That's perfect. Next question that's in is the HERE income limit based on net or gross pay?
It's gross. But there are certain things that are disregarded, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, it's total income in the house.
Okay, and next one is, do adopted children qualify or only foster children?
Oh, now that's a very good question. No, I assume that's for the TUSLA, the care of the state, the fostered child. But no, an adopted child would come in under, I would assume, the adopted parents' income and criteria. No, I'm not 100% certain if I haven't come across that before, but because the adopted child would then be under the new, the adopted parents, I would say it'd be under their income. That's what would be relevant.
So what we might get that individual to do is maybe touch base
Absolutely.
with you,
Get them to get in touch with me, and I'll do a bit of research on that.
Yeah, and in terms of it, in terms of the question, if you want to email roisin.mccormack@lyit.ie, Roisin will get back to you. Another question is, hi there, my dad is self-employed. I have ASD. Will I be able to get HERE?
It'll depend on, now, if the student has ASD, they should probably qualify for DARE.
Yes.
It very much depends on the father's income. As to whether he'll qualify for HERE or not. I wouldn't be able to answer that because everybody's different and the incomes are different. But if he's under the threshold, there's no reason why not.
And the important thing to tell that individual is that with ASD, you're likely to be eligible for DARE. So, look at that in terms of it. Can you remind people again, just they want to know the deadlines for applying to DARE and the deadlines for applying to HERE?
No, but the deadlines are actually the same for both, so it's easy.
Both.
Everybody,
Brilliant.
you have to have applied to the CAO by the 1st of February. You have to have ticked the DARE or HERE box, which is question 1, by the 1st of March at the latest. But as I say, I advise to do it on the 1st of February. And all documentation has to be provided to the CAO by the 15th of March at 5:15.
That's fantastic, Rashi.
So the 1st of February, 1st of March, and then the 15th of March.
Fantastic. And just again, for anybody then that does, let's say, for instance, you are successful and say you get the here and the there. One thing I
Hmm.
really want to highlight to people is just the level of support that they get from
Mm.
the curve at LYT and from the likes of yourself. Because I've seen you in August time when results come out, meeting people on one-to-one
Hmm.
basis, like
Hmm. Yeah.
families, bringing them through. So can you talk to me a bit about that, just about that almost like nearly pre-care that's given before the student
Well,
even comes to us.
and we actually find that that's a very important aspect of, especially because even though we might be looked upon as a big college, we're actually quite small in that we get to know the students very well and build up a good relationship. I think it's very important to meet the potential student and parent if necessary prior to starting, so we can meet, have a discussion on maybe what supports they might require, maybe alleviate any concerns they have, especially maybe a student with AS, with autism, or ADHD, or even mental health, where they might need that guiding hand to realize that, listen, college is a possibility. There is loads of support available, and we're here to help as much as we can and to make that journey as successful as possible. So meeting them in August, I think, is a good time because the college is quiet, and you have obviously more time to be able to discuss what's available, and to show them around. So it makes the journey a bit
Yeah,
easier.
it definitely does. And then just one final question now before we move to the next talk is, if your dad is self-employed farmer and other parent is a part-time nurse, do you submit your farming accounts, as there is a big difference in net and gross pay in farming? So,
You would have to, yeah, if you're self-employed farmer, you have to provide the accounts for 2020,
okay,
and you'd have
okay.
to provide then obviously if it's a mother, the income from the being a nurse as well.
Okay, that's fantastic. Roshin, thank you so much.
No problem,
And thanks
my
for
pleasure.
all the questions answered tonight. And hopefully, people found that beneficial. And again, you can always contact Roshin
Yeah,
after the event and again arrange a visit or
absolutely.
a
Or
commute.
even a conversation over the phone if there's any
Yeah,
questions that I haven't answered, and there will be loads because everybody's situation is different. So feel
absolutely.
free to get in touch,
Absolutely.
and I'll help as much as I can.
Thank you, Roshin. So
Okay,
up next,
see you if you.
I will see all the best, Roshin. Up next, I will be delivering a talk on financing your third level journey. This talk will take in our bursary scholarships and also the Susie Grant. So join me in the next few minutes, live and online here. So, welcome back, and thanks so much for tuning in this evening. This is the last of tonight's webinars for LYIT, and tonight's webinar, the final webinar, is focused on financing the third level journey. So just a quick snapshot about LYIT for those of you maybe who are tuning in for the first time. LYIT is 5,000 plus students. We offer 54 CAO programs for those students who are leaving cert, mature students, or thinking about returning to education. And we have 40 plus masters and postgraduate programs. And these programs, in terms of CAO, 75% of them offer a work placement. 85% of our current students rate their educational experience as good to excellent. Very proud of that at LYIT. And then we have a 9 out of 10 progression rate into employment from LYIT. So ultimately, that's why people are looking to study. It's to progress their careers. And we're very proud of the fact that we've such a high progression into employment. 56% of last year's graduates got work within 4 months of graduating. And in terms of where they're working now in Donegal. And we have 50 worldwide partners, because you don't have to just do your placement in Ireland if you choose a placement program. You can choose to do it abroad, and we have 50 partners across the world. So maybe you're thinking about agriculture, you can do your third year placement in ag in New Zealand, or maybe you're thinking about the area of sports and exercise, you can do your placement in Austria in the third year of that program. So 50 partners across the world. So let's talk about scholarships tonight and bursaries. Tonight we're going to be focusing on SUSI grants. We're going to be talking about the Optum Northwest Healthcare Scholarship Scheme. We're going to be talking about the 1916 Bursary Fund, the REACH Scholarship, the New Entrant Sports Scholarship, the College of Sanctuary Scholarships, the Push and Boundary Scholarship, Uversity Scholarships, the LYIT GPA Postgraduate Sports Scholarships, and the DCIL Independent Living Scholarships. So it's a lot of content to get through this evening, but hopefully it gives you an idea about the supports that are available financially there to help you, either as the parent of someone making the transition to third level or as the student coming to LYIT. So let's talk about the SUSI grants. So SUSI is what stands for Student Universal Support Ireland. They're the grants awarding body in Ireland, and the student contribution charge at LYIT is €3,000 a year. You may be exempt from paying this charge if your income comes under certain criteria. Now, the SUSI grant system opens every April, and it's from that time that you can make your application. And it's the incoming student, so not the parent, but the incoming student that makes the application. Now, you can't apply today because this is January, but you can check out whether you're eligible or not for a grant by going to their eligibility reckoner today. And that's really useful in terms of a system. It allows you to be able to take a good kind of look in terms of the eligibility for yourself, your family, and your household. So for anybody who's thinking, well, I wonder, would I be eligible for a SUSI grant? Definitely check out the eligibility reckoner on susi.ie and click on the eligibility reckoner. So just going back to the slide, so SUSI, who are they and what do they do? Well, they are governed in legislation by the Grant Scheme 2017. They process all of the new and renewed student grant applications, and you make the application online by visiting www.susi.ie. Now, this talk, along with all the other webinars tonight, is recorded. So if you miss anything, you can watch this back on demand. So it's definitely, if for instance, any of the information tonight, we're going fast through it, remember you can always watch this back. Student support can be contacted through their phone, email, and their social media accounts. So what funding is available under the SUSI grant? Well, they cover PLC courses, they cover undergraduate courses, and remember at the beginning of the talk I mentioned that LYIT has 54 CAO programs. They cover undergraduate courses by giving a maintenance support in either EU or UK. They don't cover the fees now when it comes to the EU, the UK, so it's important to highlight that. And they also provide postgraduate courses support as well. So for anybody maybe who's thinking about postgraduate study, yes, they do now do that. There was the period there a number of years ago when they didn't cover that, but they now do cover in terms of the postgraduate support and maintenance, and also student contribution and or fees. So the key eligibility criteria when it comes to the SUSI grant, for anybody who's wondering, well, how am I eligible and how will I know if I'm eligible? Well, there's a couple of key factors. They take in your nationality, they take in your residency, so you must have been living in Ireland in the last 3 out of the 5 years. In order to be eligible, you must be progressing. So I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, you previously studied before a level 6 qualification and then you decide to go back to the start of a level 6 qualification again. You can't get that SUSI grant award again if you've reached a certain level. You can only keep getting your SUSI grant award if you're progressing in your studies. So what I mean by that is moving from a level 6 to a level 7, moving from a level 7 to a level 8. So from second to third year, from third year to fourth year. You can't keep getting a do-over from SUSI in relation to your own studies. So progression is part of the key eligibility criteria. You must be choosing an approved college course. So all of LYIT programs are approved college courses, so our 54 CAO programs. And then you must be within the income thresholds in terms of 2021. So it's important to highlight that. So before you apply, you need to figure out, I suppose, who you are as an applicant. So what does SUSI see you as? Are you a dependent applicant? And what that means is that you're under 23 on the 1st of January of the year of entry. So in terms of that, then your own income will be assessed as well as your parents or guardians. Maybe you're a mature dependent. So that means you're over 23 on the 1st of January in your point of entry, but you reside with your parents. So your own income and your parents' and guardians' income would be taken in that instance. Or perhaps you're an independent applicant, so an applicant that's over 23 on the 1st of January of 2022, but you live independently from the October prior to the year of entry. So if you're thinking about LYIT this September and you're saying to yourself, right, am I independent, aged over 23, have I been living in my own environment, my own home from October last year, so October 2021, then it's just your income and your spouse or partner's income. So finding out the class of applicant is important when making that application. So how do you apply? Well, the first step is to register your SUSI account, and I'm going to show you a little screenshot of that in the next slide. You then complete and submit your application. And I'll tell you the type of information that they look for again in the following slides. And then you must renew your application each year. So it's not a given that you get this, you just must renew each year from your application. Then step 2 is they will look at your information and they'll assess, and they'll either give you a decision letter or they'll look for extra documentation. And then say in step 3, say if they did look for documentation, then you send that in step 3, and then they'll make a decision either awarded or refused. And then to receive your payment, the students will need to have registered with the college, being confirmed by the college that they're registered to attendance. So we would stamp that form for you, and you must have then submitted your bank details so that SUSI can pay you in terms of if you're getting a additional payment in terms of maintenance. So this is what the registration page looks for, and it's really important that I highlight something here tonight is that you use an email address that you're checking, because they will contact you to say that it's an incomplete application or there's extra documentation required. But it's so important that you use an email address that you actually use in terms of frequently check in on. So don't be using an email address that maybe is your school email address or an email address that you kind of infrequently have access to. You'll get a confirmation once you've registered. So it looks like this: registration is now complete. You'll be sent this email as confirmation, and then you start to begin that application. So what do you need to make your application? Well, first of all, you need your PPS number for you. You may need the PPS number for the people in your household. Again, going back to that type of applicant you are, either you're dependent or you're an independent, you may have a partner. They may need more than just your PPS number. You'll need your CAO registration number, okay? And you'll need to provide them with income details, so from last year, or maybe you're on a social welfare payment, then you'll need to provide them with this information. You'll need to provide them with information about the course you're coming onto, and don't worry too much, because some students maybe change their mind, and you can change your mind in terms of courses right the way up until around the 1st of July. So if you're changing your mind in terms of your course, don't worry too much about that, but they do need course details. And they also need your air code, and this is to determine how close to the campus you are in terms of that grant. and then you click on Start Application. What's great about the SUSI grant application too, just to know, is that you don't have to complete it all in one sitting either, all right? So you can maybe start it and then come back to it. So it's really important to highlight that you don't need to give this all one evening, one go. You can come and dip in and dip out when it comes to it. So I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of the incomes in terms of the qualifying incomes. So I'm going to give you an example. So where the household income for 2021 was €39,875 or less, this would make you eligible for your fees to be paid, so that €3,000, and also a maintenance payment. So where you're living less than 45 kilometres to the college, you would then be eligible for an additional, not just your fees, but this additional payment of €1,215 for the academic year. Okay, so that works out about €135 per month. So that's the fees paid at 3,000 and €135 per month where the income is less than €39,875. Where the income in terms of is less than €39,875 or less, and you're outside 45 kilometres, fees paid plus then that €3,025 per academic year, so €336 per month as a maintenance payment as well. So that's important to highlight that. Now, the income bands to get even just fees paid are actually quite generous, and they go up in that 50k mark, and even upwards of, say, getting the 50% of your €3,000 fees paid. It's up in around that 59 to 64,000 mark, depending on how many children you have. So if you want to check out all the different thresholds, it's really, really important that you go to susi.ie, and they have this fantastic little guide on their platform, a little 6-page guide, but they have a page really specifically that shows you all the different thresholds. You might be entitled to 50% of the fees paid. A lot of students meet me, a lot of parents meet me and say, no, we won't be eligible for a grant. I promise you we won't. And they actually end up finding out when they check out the eligibility reckoner that they were actually eligible for a grant. It's really important to check that out. Say if you're on a social welfare payment, maybe the household income is less than €24,500, and maybe you're on an eligible long-term Department of Social Protection payment, you may be eligible what's known as a special rate of maintenance. And this is again an extra bit of money that you get in addition to the fees being paid. So if you're under 45 kilometres, that would be €2,375 in the year. And if you're over 45 kilometres distance from the college, that just comes under the €6,000 a year. So really important to highlight that. And that's for anybody who maybe is on a long-term social welfare payment or comes from a household where there is people on that long-term payments. Some key messages when it comes to the SUSI grants in relation to tonight's talk is it's important to check their website. A lot of really great helpful information, a lot of great videos, actually short videos that help you on how to apply. And it's really, really important to check those things out when you're starting that process and look at them now. I know you can't apply for a while yet, but it's important to look at those things now. You can check their eligibility reckoner today, so you can get an idea or a sense of whether or not you're applying for a grant. You can tick the SUSI option as well. It's important to do this on your CAO form too for anybody watching tonight. Tick that you're applying to SUSI, because what that does is that when you come to LYIT into the first few weeks of LYIT and you're asked to pay your fees, if you've ticked that SUSI option, even if you don't have an answer on your SUSI grant application, it gives you that breathing space to wait to see whether or not you're going to get that grant. So tick the SUSI option on your CAO. Do apply early. So it's like anything. If you go in early, then you're going to be assessed earlier. So apply when it opens in April 2022, but start to get your documents ready now. Priority closing, in terms of, I suppose, yourself, you can apply from July in terms of priority right the way up. It doesn't close, SUSI, actually until November 2022. But in terms of yourself, it's really, really important to know that if you're making that application as early as possible, then you'll be classed as what's known as a priority review. Again, remember your classification. Are you an independent applicant or a dependent applicant? Remember that you have to factor in your parents' income as well as maybe whether or not you have other siblings that are in third level education, because this actually gives you extra income thresholds as well. Use the tracker to see the progress of your application, because SUSI shows you the stages of your application. And when they look for documentation, return it. And what I would ask you to do is make sure that you in terms of your documents, register, post them, okay? And self-assessed, it's early tax returns for 2021 that they're looking for. So lots of resources and helpful information is available on their website. And as I mentioned earlier, the website is www.susie.ie. So let's quickly take a look at the options available at LYIT in terms of bursaries and funding. And I'm going to quickly go through what we offer here at LYIT. We offer a number of scholarship programs. One scholarship program that's available at LYIT is the Optum Northwest Healthcare Scholarship Scheme. It's developed for students from County Donegal who are, to support them, make the transition to third level, going into programs that are science, technology, health, engineering related programs. And the full list of the courses that are eligible for this scheme is available on our website, lyit.ie/scholarships. It's worth €2,500 per annum. So if you come into a 4-year program, that's €10,000. The forms will be downloadable from the new LYIT website from the end of March, and completed forms are generally submitted around May 2022. So if you're thinking about nursing, early childhood care, science or technology, computing, any of the computing programs, then you'd be eligible to be considered under the Optum Northwest Healthcare Scholarship Scheme. Another bursary that we offer at LYIT is the 1916 Bursary Fund. This isn't just available at LYIT, it's also available in IT Sligo, GMIT, NUIG Galway, as well as LYIT, all of us in this cluster working together. And it is worth €5,000 a year. So maybe you're the first in your family to go to third level education. Maybe parents didn't study previously before, or perhaps you decide to go to, for instance, Donegal ETB, do a PLC, and then come to LYIT. Or maybe you're from a low income family, or maybe you're a lone parent or a mature student. You can apply for the 1916 bursary. And at LYIT, we give out 6 of these scholarships every year, and they're worth $5,000 a year each year for the period of your course. It's important to highlight that. Another scholarship that we offer at LYIT is the REACH bursary. And again, it's a pre-entry application. So you make your application before you come to us at LYIT, the REACH scholarship, and it's worth €800. And you get that within the first few weeks of joining us. And in 2021, 2022, LYIT gave out 40 of these REACH bursaries. The form's downloadable from the LYIT website. Forms must be submitted by around May 2022, and students will receive the payment, this €800 payment, within the first few weeks of joining us at LYIT. So it's a number of bursaries now. Again, so 1916, Optum Northwest Healthcare Scholarship, and the REACH Scholarship that I've mentioned here in tonight's talk. In terms of sport, perhaps you are a young person who's excelling in a particular sport, whether that's Gaelic, maybe it's soccer, team sports, or maybe it's athletics or it's boxing. Then you should be applying for the New Entrant Sports Scholarship. It's worth €1,500 a year. Students that receive this bursary also then have access to LYIT's High Performance Unit. They're provided with nutritional advice, assigned an academic mentor and tutor, have free access to physiotherapy, sports clothing, and compete at the highest level of intervarsity and colleges competitive sport. Just last night, we were narrowly beaten by University of Limerick in the Seekerson Cup, but LYIT competes at the highest level in colleges and intervarsity sports. It's really, really important that you check those things out when you're looking at in terms of competitive sport and the scholarships that are available in the institution that you're going to. Deadline, the first deadline is in around April 2022. If you are in a school, you will be visited by that school by Michael Murphy, our head of sport, and Victoria Wilson, our school's engagement officer, about our scholarship programme in February and March time. So it's important to highlight that you can't miss this. But then say if you didn't make the first round of applications, you can apply again in May and June time as a late applicant for these bursary, and you'll be considered in the second round. If you're, for instance, somebody who's watching this talk tonight who's thinking about postgraduate study, LYIT also has, under the Gaelic Players Association with LYIT, a postgraduate sports scholarship that's there to support successful male and female members of the GPA, so the Gaelic Players Association, who wish to study at LYIT. 2 scholarships were given out last year to students who came to LYT to study postgraduate programs at LYIT. And here they are pictured in the background. And this postgraduate scholarship goes towards the fees and also gives a monetary stipend in addition to the fees waiver as well. And it's in association with the Gaelic Players Association of Ireland. So it's another example of scholarships available. We also offer the College of Sanctuary Scholarship at LYIT. And this is open to academically eligible asylum seekers and those living in direct provision. So, priority is given to students who are living in direct provision for the College of Sanctuary Scholarship. It includes a fees waiver, and every year LYIT gives out 3 of these scholarships. Now, all of the scholarships that I'm mentioning tonight, because I know there's a lot of information to take in, are available on lyit.ie/scholarships for anybody who wants to check those things out. Again, if you're thinking about entering a taught master's or postgraduate program at LYT, we do offer the Push and Boundaries Scholarship. And if you're thinking about joining LYT, this scholarship is open to those people who are not receiving SUSI scholarship or SUSI funding for the postgraduate scholarship or postgraduate program. It's open to those people who maybe are not receiving any level of financial support, and it's worth €2,000 in terms of that master's program, and it goes off the fees again, so making that a little bit more accessible to undertake postgraduate study and supported by LYT under the Push and Boundaries Scholarship. University scholarships are higher education scholarships for adult learners. LYIT doesn't run this program. This is actually independently run under uversity.org. It's open to applicants that are 23 years or older, that are citizens of EU states and Switzerland, and are resident in Ireland or Northern Ireland for 3 years or more. And again, it provides support for those people who are interested in coming into bachelor's degrees for the first time. So for anybody out there thinking, well, I don't know if I'd be eligible for a SUSI grant, what other mechanisms or supports are there, then the University Scholarship would be that scheme that's available for you. Just this year now, we have introduced the Donegal Centre for Independent Living Scholarship, and it's a scholarship that's there to support students with a disability by means of a financial bursary, and it's currently worth €750 per annum per student, and it's awarded each year over the span of the student's chosen course. And again, it's to support students with a disability to pursue further and higher education at LYT, and it's a fantastic bursary that's open there. And again, all of the scholarships that have been talked about this evening are available on lyit.ie/scholarship. So if you are looking for more information, you can always visit our website. You can email or phone us directly or arrange a visit to LYT to meet our staff and students. So just in terms of, I suppose now we're going to hit the questions here, and I'm just going to check out to see if we have any questions that have come in, and yes, we do. So when can we start applying for the SUSI grant? So that's a great question in terms of, I suppose, applying. And if you were paying attention just to the first session, I know in terms of information, April time is when you would make that SUSI grant application. It opens in April. You can check in terms of the grants, whether or not you're eligible today. And you can check that on their eligibility reckoner by going to susi.ie and checking out their eligibility reckoner. Another question that has come in here has asked again, when does the sports scholarship application process open? So that's a great question. It opens in mid-February, and it'll be available online. So you apply online for your application for your sports scholarship. And what's great about the sports scholarship bursary is that you actually will find out if you apply by the end of April, beginning of May, you'll know whether or not you're actually eligible for that sports scholarship, because we actually tell you at LYIT whether or not you're going to get that scholarship, or you're put on a waiting list as well. So you'll know actually if you apply within the deadline when it opens from middle of February, by the end of April, if you're getting that scholarship or bursary. Next question is asking about COVID payments. So my parents were put on COVID payments in 2021. I think I might be eligible for a grant. What can I do? So that's a great question. The question here, I suppose, what can you do to check that out? You can go to the eligibility reckoner on susie.ie. So www.susie.ie and check out their eligibility reckoner. So that's it from me. I think I've covered all of your questions there this evening. If there's a question that maybe hasn't been answered here this evening, you can always email me on fiona.kelly@lyit.ie. And I'll be sure to get back to you and answer any questions or queries that you may have.